We have officially tapped in. Welcome to another episode of Clean Breaks. Today is a day, Diaz versus Fortuna, and I think a fight that you might be looking forward to more so. Ramirez versus Sullivan Barrera. All right, so that's the card for today, which is weird because I thought it would have been on the 10th and not the 9th. But,
Yeah,
that's the zone, and that's what they riding with. Who you got on JoJo Diaz Fortuna card?
I got JoJo Diaz.
You got JoJo? Okay. Why
Mhm.
so?
You said why?
Why so? Yeah.
I agree. I think JoJo looks huge, even though he made weight. I think when he rehydrates,
He's a big guy.
Fortuna is going to be tricky, but not as tricky for JoJo because the southpaw advantage is taken away from Fortuna by JoJo being southpaw.
Facts.
So normally, where I think it would probably take Haney either a decision or somewhere between 10 to 12 rounds, between 10 and 12 before he would thoroughly start to beat up Fortuna. I think JoJo is going to get to him probably between rounds, probably 7 and 9, a little bit earlier. I think once he figures out the trickiness of Fortuna, the awkwardness, and once he starts to time him and see that, Fortuna has a lot of things, he has some bad habits and he has a lot of things that he just repeatedly that he does. And the fact that he won't have a southpaw advantage, I think JoJo's just going to walk him down, and I think he's going to hit him to the body, and eventually I think he's going to stop him. I say he stops Fortuna by round 9.
I think a little later, but I think it's just gonna be a fight. I don't think Fortuna is gonna back down. I know
No,
he I
Fortuna,
know I know
yeah,
he can
Fortuna won't back
box,
down.
but I
Mm-hmm.
think he wants what this will turn out to be. And JoJo looks fucking big, man. JoJo
That's
looks
a
big.
problem.
Joe,
That's a
but he
problem because
always looks big. He's just like he just puffs the fuck up after the weigh in. Like he just goes
yeah,
back and eats every goddamn thing and blows up. But
and that's why I think it's going to be earlier than later because I think JoJo he puffs up. I think that's a sign of not necessarily being in the best of shape. Um, and he's going to be heavier than he was his previous fights.
true,
He's
true.
carrying around more weight. He's going to be using more oxygen. I think he's going to be a little bit more aggressive. And I think he'll be cautious the first 2 rounds. I think after that, he'll throw all caution to the wind and just start to literally immediately walk him down.
Beat him down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should make for an exciting fight. I just didn't. I was just like, what? The 9th? Like, why the 9th and not the 10th? But whatever, man. Like, I think it
You
should
know
be a
why?
good what
Cheaper.
is it?
It's cheaper. So the venue price is probably 10 to 15% cheaper on a Friday than it is on a Saturday.
Okay. Okay.
The site cost. So it's just like if you throw in a party somewhere, right? If you want to do a promote a party at a club and you want to get the whole venue out, it's going to be cheaper to do it on a Friday than a Saturday.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Especially if it's not in this case, with as far as boxing, when it's not a big name. Like that's
A
not
huge big name
yeah.
where you're going to get a huge live gate. They're just risk management. They want to
Yeah.
make sure they can cover their losses. I mean, look at the venue that it's going to be at. So they'll draw a large, because of location, a large Mexican contingency and Latino contingency there. I'm pretty sure the tickets aren't that expensive given the location and the date. And obviously, I think the site fee is going to be a lot cheaper than it would be on a Saturday.
A hell of a lot cheaper because I don't think it was Dan Raphael that posted the
Mhm.
earnings. And I think Zero will be getting like 500,000 and Sullivan Barrera will be getting like 100,000, 200,000 or something like that. So I was like, oh, ain't no,
Yeah,
they didn't really go out there to promote that or make it something big. So
no,
they're not expecting much from the card.
this is
But
more like a build up for both guys to the next
yes,
big fight.
yes,
This is
absolutely.
like a stepping stone fight for either Fortuna or Diaz because then they get Haney next. And to me, for Zerto, Sullivan Barrera's fought everybody. If he beats Sullivan Barrera, especially in impressive fashion, I think he gets Joe Smith Jr.
I that would be nice if he gets that, but I heard there's a rumor that uh Joe Smith may end up fighting Danny Jacobs at 175.
I heard that too. I heard that rumor. I don't think Danny Jacobs is going to get that fight.
Okay. Okay.
I think there's a lot of energy with Canelo. And until the Plant situation is figured out, you have to ask, if you're Joe Smith, would you rather fight Canelo Alvarez or would you fight Danny Jacobs? You want to keep yourself available. You don't want to get locked in.
True, but
So
as
Canelo's
far as
tying up
he needs to
two
make a
divisions.
decision too. Yeah, he needs to make a decision too because we're in July now. He has maybe a week or two.
Well, he's
left
saying it's Plant. They're saying it's Plant and his team and Al that are holding up that fight. That's what they claim.
Well, it's always
That's what Eddie
something
Hearn
going on.
said. So
well, and you can't.
So you can't really trust
nothing.
what Eddie Hearn has to say. I mean, Eddie Hearn said Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury was going to fight. Then he doubled down and lied and said, "I can't believe the fight is off. How did he win his arbitration?" I mean, nobody's that stupid. So
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. But I think Zurdo Ramirez, I think this would be a good fight. I don't think that fight is going to last too long as well. I think once Zurdo starts to get comfortable and he starts to understand that the guy in front of him may just be here to be here, he'll walk him down and bully him and get him up out of there. I like Zurdo Ramirez. I think he's a great fighter. I just think that at this point in his career and for the better success of his career, they're gonna have to start putting some monsters in front of him. The better Diaz, the Joe Smiths, the fucking better Bivol. Like they got to put these guys in front of him because he's ready. It's not like he's not ready. It's time.
He's ready, and he's next. After he beats, because Sullivan Barrera's fought a lot of those guys.
Yes.
He's definitely that gatekeeper, solid pro at that level to where the only place to go from Sullivan Barrera is a title shot or a number one contender, in my opinion. I mean, Joe Smith is with Top Rank though, right?
No, Joe Smith is over. He's with DAZN, right? DAZN and
I think
Oscar De La Hoya.
Is he with DAZN? I don't know if Joe Smith is with Oscar De La Hoya. I don't know which network he fights on. I don't know if he fights on Top Rank, which is ESPN. I thought he fought on ESPN.
Let's do the due diligence. Let's do
the due diligence on that because that dictates a lot. If even though Zurdo doesn't require big money, so the fight could be made, Bob Arum would definitely make that fight because Zurdo is not super expensive. And Bob is very willing to do business with Oscar and Golden Boy, who Zurdo signed with now, as opposed to doing, it's a little bit more static with PBC and Al Haymon.
I'm trying to find it. See who he is under.
I believe it's Top Rank.
It's not telling me, but I think it might be Top Rank because F.A. Ajagba is Top Rank, right?
Yes, he signed with Top Rank. Joe Smith Jr. is Top Rank. I've seen his fights on ESPN, so he's Top Rank.
Yeah. So the last card that Joe Smith was on was this card, and he fought Maxim Vlasov.
Yeah, that was on ESPN. That was a great fight, by the way. That was a hell of a fight.
I didn't see it.
I saw it. It was if you get a chance, it's worth it. Watch that fight. Some people thought Vlasov could have won. It was a war. It was a hell of a fight.
Oh, they went out there like that?
Oh yeah, it was war. It was in all caps. But I think Smith, it's not going to be, if anything, you have Bivol and you have Beterbiev on both on DAZN.
No, but Beterbiev is ESPN, right?
No, I think Beterbiev is DAZN. Beterbiev and Bivol are both on DAZN. So I think Zurdo would get one of those guys. Is who I think Zurdo would get. Canelo, I don't see Canelo jumping right into Beterbiev. It sounds good, but I think Canelo does what he does the same thing he did before he got Kovalev. I think he tests the waters with what he thinks is a softer target at that weight. So I think Joe Smith Jr. is there and there's a belt on the line. And then he goes into a unification with Beterbiev. That's how I see him making his moves, or either Bivol. That's how I see him making his moves at 175.
Did he drop the belt? Did Canelo drop his belt at 175?
It was a regular title. He still has it, but it was a regular title. It wasn't Rocky Fielding was the regular champion. He wasn't the super champion.
No, but Rocky Fielding was at 168 though, bro.
No, Rocky Fielding was at 175. Yeah, Rocky Fielding was 175. I believe. Take a look at it.
I believe he 168.
I thought Rocky Fielding was at 175, and then you had Kovalev, which is at 175.
Okay.
Take a look, but if I'm not mistaken, Rocky Fielding was 175.
Rocky
He was light heavyweight.
Fielding.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but I had to laugh at that just saying it.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see. You fought. Where is it? Saul Canelo Alvarez at 168. TKO
It was at 168?
Yes, it was. Remember, that was
That
his
was at
first touch.
168.
That was the first touch at
Oh.
168. Remember?
So he was at 160. Okay, I don't know why I thought Fielding was 175. So yeah.
No, sir. They kept saying he should move up to 175 because he's big enough for it, but
Just like him and Callum Smith, they both are big enough for 175.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's see what happens. I think
because
thanks for the correction on that.
It was Gennady Golovkin at 160, right? And then Rocky Fielding at 168, and then he went to Daniel Jacobs at 160, and then he went up to Sergey Kovalev at 175.
At 175. Okay.
175. No disrespect to Kovalev, but he just knew Kovalev was a soft touch, and he could get him out of there. And then he was
on his way out the game.
Correct. And then he came back to Callum Smith and Average Pilgrim, as I heard somebody call him. I think that was Ego. Boxing Ego called him Average Pilgrim.
So sound like something he was saying.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that, man. But it should make for a decent night of fights. I don't know who else is on that card because I didn't have time to really get myself together. Last night was crazy, and this morning has been pretty cool as well. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, but I think Jojo Diaz, man. I did not like what Jojo Diaz was saying as far as fighting Devin Haney. He said he wants a Devin Haney fight, but he said he thinks Devin Haney will move up after he wins this fight. And I was like, I don't think Devin's gonna move up. I think he wants to fight all of you guys. He has a point to prove at 135, and he's not gonna move up because then it would be considered him being a duck, and I don't think he wants to be considered that.
And he's still young, and he makes the weight comfortably. He never looks weight drained. He doesn't struggle to make the weight. He doesn't blow up in weight after fights. He has a very clean lifestyle. He doesn't drink. He doesn't party all the time. He doesn't smoke. Kind of a lot of similarities to Mayweather in terms of the lifestyle, right? And a Bud Crawford, you don't see them drinking, smoking, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that's wishful thinking. Haney's not going anywhere. I think he's going to become the mandatory for Haney. I think the usual nonsense happens every time there's a fight to be made. Ryan Garcia will throw his name in the hat like he did with Tank after Tank beat Barrios just to get some publicity because he's clout chasing. And then he, maybe it won't be mental illness. Maybe it'll be emotional illness or something like that after that. And, and he ends up fighting nobody and he just sits on the sides and hangs out with TikTokers. And then I think you get JoJo and Haney, and I think Haney destroys JoJo.
That is going to be a night of boxing. Like you're going to get boxed all night in that fight.
Yeah, and I think that fight definitely goes the distance.
Yeah, this won't be a fight where you think this is going to be Tevin Farmer, because Tevin Farmer and Devin Haney are two different types of boxers.
Yeah. And Haney's much bigger too.
Yes, and the sharpness of Haney, it will be very evident when you get in the ring with Devin. Devin's going to come out sharp right away. He's not going to.
He was at least JoJo was honest though. JoJo was like, "Yeah, Haney's jab is a serious problem."
Oh yeah.
He's like that jab is like we know about the footwork, the quickness, but he's like the key to him. He's like his jab is just it's really hard to get through that jab, around that jab, past that jab. So, we'll see what happens. First of all, he's got to beat Fortuna. Fortuna's a tricky fighter. I think he walks him down. I think Fortuna's awkward. I think he outboxes him for a few rounds, has a couple good moments, maybe pops JoJo with a good straight left and gets his attention.
I wouldn't be surprised if he got the best of JoJo. I wouldn't be, because I think it's 50-50. Just so people know, I really think the fight is 50-50. But I wouldn't be surprised if Fortuna's rugged style and his ability to make it a rough and rugged fight. I wouldn't be surprised if he made it like that for 12 rounds, or if he made it like that long enough to get JoJo out of there.
I got it 60-40. I think JoJo has the physical advantages. I also think because he's seen a slick fighter like Tevin Farmer, I don't think Fortuna's a better boxer than Farmer, and I don't think Fortuna is slicker and gets out the way of punches better than Tevin Farmer.
No.
And JoJo hit Farmer often. So to me, if JoJo can hit Farmer often, he'll hit Fortuna often.
I wonder what was wrong with Tevin Farmer that fight, because it seemed like he was off. It just seemed
he gave
like
a lot of excuses. He said weight issues, he didn't have the best camp. You know, it was several things he said.
But looking at him in the ring, I watched that fight 2 or 3 times. He just looked off, like from the second or third round on. He just looked like he wasn't focused and involved in that fight like he should have been. He wasn't dialed in completely. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, sometimes you just it's not your night, you know.
Yeah.
So it could have been just one of those nights. He had a bad night. Let's see if he makes his comeback. I know he split from DeBella, I believe. So I don't know.
Really? I don't know.
They split. So you know, we'll see what happens. But he's only quite a bit outside looking in. So I'm not really gonna elaborate too much on Tevin Farmer. Yeah, man, we'll see what happens. We'll see. Tank announced he's fighting in October. So again, he's somebody that's a player in that 135 division. I love how Dev called him out. I love how Dev.
I didn't know he called him out.
He called him out, and Dev said, you know, why isn't Tank fighting any elite black fighters?
Really? I didn't know that.
He said, oh man, that's interesting. He's also good friends with Canelo.
Wow. Good shot. Who
shot you?
Yeah. That's a good one.
That's a very good one. I think it does. I think it's a good one. I don't think it lands well and sticks on Tank, because Tank can box and he can obviously punch. So,
man, listen, ain't nobody made Tank do anything but knock people out. And until he comes across the fighter, the competitive nature of a different warrior that can make him box or make him back up, you are going to get a Tank. That's what.
I think so. If I had to decide right now, I would have Tank beating Dev.
I do too.
Like probably stopping him by the 11th or 12th, like at the end, similar to Barrio, similar to that type of fight, but way more skillful with Haney. I think Haney bludgeons him with the jab. I just think Dev hasn't developed his grown man strength. I think once he works on his strength and conditioning a little more, I think he'll be better positioned to have enough to keep a Tank off of him or to stop the Tank in his tracks, at least to a certain extent. You don't have to knock him out, but you got to hurt him and get his attention and make him, second guess. And I think because they have sparred, I think Tank would be confident because he's like, he knows what Dev has. It's not this, I don't know how much power he has or he doesn't have. And so I think Dev needs to just chew on some of the other fighters first before he actually gets the Tank fight and develop some more strength and a little bit better conditioning, keep sharpening his skills before we see that fight. That's a fight that should marinate, in my opinion. I mean, I personally don't want to see that fight right now.
I don't either, and we have already said this, that we believe once upon a time that should be the end result of 135 or 140. But I've said it for a while now, that if they were to fight, Tank is going to break him off correctly. Like, he's not going to play with Devin Haney, and he's going to walk. He's really going to walk Devin down. Like, I already know that.
Yeah, it's either he's going to walk him down and eventually break him down, or he's going to clip him, much like Linares did. He'll just catch him, with a big shot. And I think if he catches Dev with a big shot at this point, I think it's a wrap. So I think that's just how the fight goes. I think he could be getting outboxed in quite a few parts in the fight. I just think, number one, we know Tank is willing to walk through fire and take chances. Number two, Tank is a phenomenal counterpuncher. And if Dev leaves any hole, Tank will find that hole. And once he gets in the hole, he explodes. He doesn't just send something in the hole, it explodes.
Yeah.
So I just think it's not the right timing for Dev. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, if I beat Tank right now, then I'm one of the biggest stars in boxing. I think he should hold his horses, build his resume. I don't think you go from Linares to Tank. I think there's other guys, there's other food there that he needs to chew on and spit out first before he gets to Tank. And let Tank keep building. And then let Tank get a whole bunch of accolades, do everything, you do what you do. And when you find him at the end, if you win, then you take all his glory. everything that he's ever done.
Got to see Dev get stronger too, though, man. He has to get
that's why I
stronger.
say strength and conditioning. He's got to get stronger.
Got to get stronger.
The skills are there. It's the strength. It's the strength. I think he's well conditioned, but it's more so the strength.
Yeah,
that would be my concern against a guy like a Tank.
And not just Tank, and not just Tank,
Yeah.
but just going up to that 140 division. Because I feel like Dev may end up at 140 or 147, and he's gonna need to be able to push guys back. Excuse me, and get guys.
I agree with you. I think in 2-3 years, 140. I think he'll end his career at 147. Similar to Floyd.
Yeah.
But I think
I won't mind him being. I won't mind him being a master boxer. That's not to take anything away from his skill set. To me, I just feel that he needs to be a little bit more rugged and durable, because he's going to be taking on guys that are just going to be naturally heavy than he is. You're going to have guys that's going to be losing anywhere between 30 to 50 pounds just to make 147. And Dev is always in shape. It's not like this is some kid who's out of shape and doesn't take care of his body. Like, he's going to always be in shape. So making weight won't never really be a problem for him. But when he's facing these guys who are 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", or they're coming from countries like Argentina where they're naturally big because they eat a lot of meat and everything, you're going to want to make sure that your body is conditioned to not just give out punishment, but take the punishment and to have the condition and endurance to deal with all those things at the same time. Yeah. So definitely Devin as a master boxer throughout the course of his career, but it's just that building up resistance and being a more stronger, durable fighter. Jojo Diaz, I think he just boxes Jojo Diaz's head off, for the course of that fight when
for 12 rounds. I agree.
Yes, I wholeheartedly believe that, unless he somehow catches Jojo reaching in, because Jojo's trying to force the pace and he catches him with a combo, boop, bat, boop, bip, and he puts him out of there, But Dev is too smart with his feet and too smart with his hands and too smart with his brains to sit in front of a Jojo Diaz or anybody else. I would like it. To me, it doesn't even matter who he fights between Fortuna or Jojo Diaz. Agreed. I think both of those are great fights for him. I would definitely like to see either one of those guys fight him. Is Robert Easter still at 135 or is he at 140?
Robert Easter's at 140.
He's at 140. Okay.
He moved up to 140.
Okay. All right, cool. I was going to say that's another rugged guy that would, definitely help get Devin along the way. But definitely
he's taller and longer.
Yes. And that would definitely be a good fight for Dev and for Robert Easter, just to see where he is right now.
Yeah. I mean, Easter's had struggled with either the thicker guys who can get into his body, and he's also struggled with guys who are fast.
Yes. He had a problem. He had a problem with Mikey. Mikey outboxed him. And then he had a problem with Fortuna.
Yeah, he had a huge problem with Fortuna.
Yeah,
Fortuna won that fight.
I don't think I can disagree there. Fortuna won that fight to me.
He landed the cleaner, harder shots. He was controlling the pace of the fight. He was controlling the distance. And I thought he won that fight, probably by about at least 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Robert
Easter, man, it seems like he tries to box, but it seems like something's just missing. Like he's just like
he's stuck in between.
Yeah, it's not connecting.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that his heart is not connected to his brain. His brain says, "I'm the longer, taller guy. Use my reach, use my jab, keep the fight at a distance." But then his heart is like, "I'm a warrior. I can take this. I can slug it out. I can bang it out." And then he lets guys walk like Mikey did, walk right through the front door, and then it becomes an inside fight.
And he did nothing to put Mikey.
And he's just not good with those long arms on the inside. He needs to learn how to fight on the inside too. He's not really good on the inside. So, we'll see what happens. He's been off for quite a while.
Yeah.
Maybe he would have had to sharpen his tools. It's going to help him that he won't have to cut as much weight because he's a big guy. A tall guy at least. And so I think 140 will help fill out his frame a little more. And, maybe that might help him. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's a naturally big guy, because a guy, I know it's a different comparison, but I don't know if it's a weight or if he's tall, whatever it is. But when I look at Fundora, I look at him and I go, this is a guy that's 6'6", and he can make 154 comfortably.
Yeah.
And then in a recent interview, he said, I can actually make 147 without a problem. He said, I don't get that big.
Yeah.
So that's if that be the situation, then maybe it's just working on the skills, tighten them up, making sure he knows how to throw tighter punches on the inside, straight punches. You don't have to necessarily throw hooks,
Yeah.
but punches up the middle because you are taller than everybody. You don't have to throw the hooks to the outside or anything. All the punches can be to
Yeah.
the inside.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
a taller
Fundora
fighter,
is a
you,
an anomaly
yeah, he's a unicorn.
physiologically.
He's a
He's a
unicorn.
unicorn. The way he's able
Yeah.
to cut that weight, and he looks like flesh and bones, and he rehydrates, but he still keeps his cardio. He stays in shape because he throws a lot of punches.
Yeah, I was listening to the interview. He said he doesn't get above 165.
Yeah, that's super light for a guy 6'6".
That's what I'm saying. Like he said,
Yeah.
I don't get above 165. And the guy said, so
Yeah.
you can make 147. He said, easily. He said, comfortably. I can easily make that. He said, it's nothing. It don't take much for me to make it.
But they're doing really well with him to match make him with the right people. My issue with him is that, even if he tries to make 147, which I don't think he's going to go to 147, but even at 154, is that if he fights a body snatcher who can get inside that reach, and his legs are so little. That's another reason why he doesn't weigh it much. He has very, very, very thin legs. And somebody gets into that thin body, I think it's going to be a problem for him.
It could be, man, but whatever they doing, whatever mom and pop is doing or have been doing, they done a hell of a job with it because the sister.
Genetics, man.
Yeah,
I just think it's genetics.
The sister is a badass too. She's, she
Yeah,
ain't nothing
she's
to
a
play
beast.
with. You know what I mean?
That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever they've done to make them kids like that, they've put that shit together very well for their kids. So
I agree.
Fundora is a bad motherfucker. I think he's going to be a future champ, and it won't take too long. I would love.
I definitely agree he'll be a future champ.
I would love to see him get 154, 160, 168, and then go up to like 175. But he even said, I don't know if I can even get up to 168 and hold the weight.
Yeah, I think he could, as he gets older, like he's young, so his metabolism is still really high.
Yeah.
Generally, people who are that tall, heck, I'm 44. My metabolism is similar to what it was when I was younger too. Can't carry a lot of weight or put on a lot of weight. But with him, generally, people who are really tall, because their frame is so wide, they tend to fill out a little more. He's only like, 22 years old. I think by the time he's 27, 28, I can see him 168 and not having a problem, because I think he'll just naturally fill out that very.
And he'll probably want to eat. He'll probably just start like, yo, I'm hungry.
Yeah, exactly. He'll eat more. I think I can see him doing that. It's just a matter of whether he's going to have a physical advantages in terms of height and reach. The question is, and he's a southpaw, which makes it even much more awkward and difficult. But the question is, will he be able to have any type of power to keep those guys off of him at the higher weight classes? So let's see what he does at 154. I don't think he sees Mel. I think Mel is gone before he even gets to 154. It'd be interesting because he'll be at 154 while Earl, at some point, Earl moves up to 154.
Ooh.
So that would be a really interesting situation. Ooh. And they're both PBC guys. I could see that somewhere down the line, a couple of years from now.
And Fundora ain't scared to bang.
No, and Fundora ain't scared to bang, and Earl's definitely not scared to bang. And it would be interesting. It's going to be interesting because when he moves up to 154, Earl will be fighting at least half of his fights will be against guys he has a physical disadvantage against in terms of height and reach. So it'll be interesting to see his game evolve as well, going to 154, and obviously Fundora being probably the tallest guy at 154 maybe ever. So, but there are a couple tall fighters at 154 who are like 6'1", 6'2", and up. And obviously Fundora being the tallest at 6'6". Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It should be interesting to see. I heard the interview with Earl. He said he can't wait to get up to 154. And the guy was like, why are you ready to go? He's like, because I'm tired of making 147. He said, you all will see a better version of me when I move up to 154. He said, because I won't have as much weight to lose. And he said, because of that, I'll be able to throw more punches. And he said, I can get my punch count up to over 1,000 punches. And the guy was like, are you serious? He said, I know. He's like, I'm trying to tell y'all, like, I have to cut so much weight at 147 that throwing the punches that I want to throw, I can't do it. But he said at 154, he'll be able to get over 1,000 punches thrown in a fight.
Yeah. And I think he'll be stronger. I don't even think he'll need to throw 1,000 punches. I think his power will be better the higher up he goes in the weight. You can even tell the way Errol is at 147 that he's very mindful of how he throws his punches and the power behind them, because his main thing at 147 is about conserving energy. He doesn't waste a lot, number one, and then number two, he's not throwing 100 miles an hour every time he,
No.
And so, to me, I've always noticed that about him. And I think at 154, he's going to have more energy, be able to carry more weight. I think it's carry more power.
I think he's basically trying to say that y'all finna see me air this bitch out. Like, I'm about to show y'all what I really can do, because I've been trying to hold this shit together for so long at 147. And now that I'm free to blow up just a little bit more, I can now open the floodgates and show y'all what else I can do.
Yeah, and he'll be like, this will be his last fight at 147. He knows it, because we both know since Bud resigned with Top Tank, he's not going to get that fight. They're going to hold that belt hostage. They're going to keep lying, acting like they could make the fight. Bud is okay with it because he realizes he didn't have leverage when he wanted to make the fight. He definitely won't have any leverage now, and his pride and ego won't let him openly acknowledge the fact that everybody knows that he is the B side, and that he's going to have to take a sizable split differential in terms of the money, and he's just not. If he wouldn't do it back then, he's not going to do it now. So to me, Earl, though I know what PBC is going to do. They're going to say, well, yeah, he's undisputed because Bud didn't want the fight. That's what they're going to say. He was undisputed at 147.
And no, there ain't too many people that's going to start disputing that.
So there is no dispute. Yeah, Bud's got the belt, but there's no dispute because he called Bud out and Bud didn't want to make the fight. So technically, undisputed means is the opposite of a dispute. So if Earl has all the rest of the belts and Bud says, well, I'm not going to fight you, then to me, that champion should be undisputed, because you can't make a guy fight you. You may not have all the belts, but you would be undisputed. So I think that's what's going to end up happening. Then I think he moves up to 154. That's what I think happens.
Yeah, that's the only way to go. Like Errol said, I'm tired of it. He said after this fight with Pacquiao, we're gonna go over across the street and see what happens. But like you just said, they're not about to do this fight, man.
Look,
to Bud Crawford, man. I hope you know you're just holding the belt. That's all you're doing. You're just holding the belt. Bob Arum cares more about that belt than he does about you, my man. He cares more about that belt than he does about you.
I think Bud knows that. I think Bud is just like, well, Trick's going to be on Bob because no matter who he puts in front of me, I can beat them all. So it's the game within the game. It's, he thinks it's smart money, but he wants the easier money. And he's like, well, going to a war with Porter and going to a war with Spence, or even a 12-round fight with a Thurman, I'm definitely not fucking with Boots Ennis. So I think he's just like, I'd rather fight the Jose Zepedas, the Josh Taylors. I'd rather fight those guys because they're going to be as taxing. I might make a little less money, but I got guaranteed money. And I'm also guaranteed to be the A side. Unfortunately, he would not be the A side in the Josh Taylor fight because they're saying they will send that fight to Scotland. So, but look, that's who Bud is. He's okay with it.
Let me ask you this though.
So yeah.
A healthy Keith Thurman, do you think he could beat Bud Crawford?
Yeah, a healthy Keith Thurman. When Keith Thurman was one time, it would be truly a 50-50 fight. Now it's to me, a 65-35 fight in favor of Bud, and mostly because of he's dropped off a couple levels, and Keith's lack of punch resiliency is really a big problem because Bud is going to touch you. And so can you handle being touched? And he's going to that body, especially with Keith. Anybody who fights Keith, they know body shots. Like that's the worst kept secret in all of boxing. Body shots, Keith Thurman.
Yeah.
So it's, everybody knows that. So that would have been a really good fight. I think because Keith he's always been a very intelligent guy in the ring. He's got athleticism, he's got good feet, he's got good hands, and he's got power in that right hand. And you know, back when he was on, he knew how to get you with that right hand. And Bud does have a questionable chin, period.
Woo. And
It's
can
a
you
fact. He just
imagine
does.
fucking Keith Thurman landing that right hook, that right hand left hook?
Yeah. So I just think it would be a problem.
Woo.
I think Bud obviously gets knocked, so Keith will never get back to what he was. But like guys who I think beat Bud now, I think Boots destroys him. I think Earl beats him. I think Boots stops him.
You think Errol beats him, but you think Boots stops him?
I think Boots destroys him. I think Earl beats him.
I don't know, man.
I
I
think
don't
Boots
know.
destroys him. I think Boots knocks him out at least by the 8th round. At least.
Listen, if Errol Spence goes into this fight and walks through Manny Pacquiao, then I just don't see a situation where Bud can
So
make
at
it out.
154, I think Errol destroys him. I don't think Errol destroys him at 147. I think Errol beats him at 147. I think Earl destroys him if he wants to come up to 54.
No, I think at 147, him taking on Pacquiao, if he whoops the bro, I just don't see it.
I hear you. 2 different fights. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I just think
because the experience and knowledge he will gain from a Pacquiao, just being in there with him.
I'm just looking at it. I'm listening to the guy. The guy's like, man, I'm sick of making 147.
Okay.
And I think at this point, he's just like, Errol's not, the last thing he is stupid. And his team isn't stupid. And I think they know Bud is going to run from that fight. They're going to make all the excuses. They're going to flip. He's going to have the ESPN propaganda machine sounding like Fox News. And they're going to, lie, deflect. And the fight just won't happen, right? We won't get the fight. So he knows he's getting to 154. So I think he's putting everything into this one fight at 147 because he knows this is last. Because there's nobody else worth fighting at 147. Nobody.
Not really. No.
I don't care if they got a belt or not. I don't even care if WBA keeps the belt away from Pacquiao, which they won't. They'd be absolute dummies to do that. But you don't stick around at 147 for another fight to fight Ugas. You only stick around at 147 for the big money fight. Now it'd be to Crawford. But Crawford's not going to fight him. So
sad situation.
Yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is. It's a business decision that I think Crawford will regret because I think the thing is they've been able to get away with it, but the way he's handled it is not going to age well over time.
No,
it's not going to age well over time because let me tell you something. Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis are going to fight at some point, and they're both under the same flag, and they're not going to avoid each other. Now, I think Virgil's going to avoid Boots now, and I think it's a smart move, but I think Virgil needs more experience. I think Boots needs some more
Virgil
experience.
is the zone, right?
Yeah, Virgil's the zone.
Boots is PBC.
Boots is Showtime. Yep, PBC.
Okay.
He's not signed to PBC, but he fights on Showtime.
Correct.
So he's a free agent. He can move around.
Correct.
Right. Which is kind of what Devin Haney's situation is. Devin Haney
is now
a free agent now.
Yes.
He's not a free agent. He didn't resign with Matchroom. He'll still work with Matchroom if they have to fight over on the zone if he needs a platform. If it's something they want to buy and get into, they can negotiate, which is smart that he left that door open. But it was really wise of him at this early age of his career to not only have his own promotional company, but to also be a free agent because now there are no excuses to fight. Well, Devin Haney fights. He only fights over there.
We got to go across the street. We got to do this. Yeah. We got to do that. No more.
And I love Devin Haney's mentality because what he's saying is not only am I free from that so I can make the best fights, but he's also letting you know, yeah, it's your network. If I got to be the B-side, so what? I'm going to come over there to beat your ass. And I love his energy and his mentality. And the business decisions he's making matches what his intentions are in boxing. So Bud's business decisions have revealed his boxing intentions. His intentions are not to fight the best opposition. They just aren't. He doesn't want to fight the top level competition. People will wonder, well, why he got to go into the PBC? He don't have to go. He don't have to sign PBC. He can just be a free agent.
Can create your own banner.
He could just be a free agent like Devin Haney, like Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. They're free agents. So all the Bud lovers will keep making excuses, just like all the Tyson Fury, lovers will keep making excuses for Tyson Fury. act like he didn't cheat, like he didn't get popped for steroids, like he didn't do cocaine, like his gloves weren't funny and awkward. Like other people haven't mentioned his gloves being awkward and different things. So yeah,
he tore up his license for the BBBFC. You all can keep believing that, but when you look at the actual facts, he had pop for cocaine and PEDs. Like cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
You gotta support cheaters. That's a problem.
So we see what people's intentions are by the business decisions.
And like you said, that's dope, man, because what Devin is basically saying is like, I don't mind signing with the zone. The zone is taking very good care of me. But what needs to happen now, as far as my career goes, in order for me to be considered one of the best and one of the greatest at this, because I do love boxing, I have to free myself up to make sure that I can make every fight possible without there being any hindrance.
No excuses. Yeah,
no excuses. And if the excuses come, it won't be from me and from my side.
Yeah, and the other thing is he's taking a chance on himself. That's huge, being out there naked. So he took a chance on stuff. The other thing is again, he's taking away all the excuses. Now people will say, well, how come Earl is not a free agent? Because Earl's in a different, you got to understand your situation. So with Devin Haney, the best fights on multiple platforms with multiple promoters. With Earl Spence, there's only one fighter outside of where he is that's considered competition. Everybody else is where he is. So if he can get more guaranteed money, and he's already got the best comp and with the most belts right there in his own backyard, he don't need to be a free agent. He can do exactly what he's doing. Just like at 154, it's the same landscape. If Mel is there, he got all the belts. If Mel moves up and he drops the belts, that's on the PBC side. So Earl is still in the right situation to have an opportunity to get those belts. See, Bud knowingly signed with Top Rank, and there was no competition there. There were no belts there. Now, and then not only did he do that, but he re-signed 2 times having that same exact information. So let's use deductive reasoning and ask ourselves, what does that tell us? It tells us, number one, he likes the money that he's getting at Top Rank because it's prize fighting. It tells us, number 2, that fighting the best competition isn't a top priority for him. And these are just the facts, and accept him. I accept him for who he is. I think he's a phenomenal fighter. I think he passes the eye test, but he will never be an all-time great to me. He'll never be an all-time great because of his lack of taking on the top opponents. Now he'll be a Hall of Famer because he was undisputed at 140 and he won a title in a different weight division. Yeah. And he's won titles in other divisions, multiple weight divisions. So he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But he'll never be an all-time great because he didn't fight. He literally avoided all the best competition.
Ain't that's crazy.
In a weight class that he's campaigned in now for what, 2-3 years
or more.
So to me, that's a red flag. So to me, he's worse than Canelo. Ooh, I give Canelo more credit.
You dirty rat.
He talked about Canelo. Well, look at this. Now the Canelo has fought some comp. Of course, it's been timely when he's done it. But at least when Canelo fought guys who were past their prime, they were still better than Kell Brook, right? And the other thing is Canelo has some fights in front of him where it appears he's going to have to come across some top guys. If Canelo fights David Benavidez, if Canelo takes B-Ball or Better Bia, I've got to give him more credit than Bud. Yeah. So Canelo
and I just looked at it
and projecting. Yeah.
I just looked at it since 2018.
Yeah. So, and Canelo's projecting in the right direction to fight better comp. When we hear about Bud's projection, literally, if I'm looking at his entire career, and also from an eye test, the best competition that Bud Crawford could ever potentially face is Josh Taylor.
Let's move on from that because that just goes down a sad situation where we love a guy for his skill and dedication to the sport, but he doesn't want to put forth the effort to fight.
The will isn't there. Yeah. The will isn't there.
He's lacking the will. Let me ask you this question. If I came to you with a deal, and I said, Jay, the deal is 60-40, and it's $120 million in the pot. Would you take it?
I'm taking that fight if it's $60 million in the pot. Because
Man,
guess what? That is more money than he will ever make fighting anybody else. You know?
facts, facts.
So
And
yeah, that's it.
win or lose.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be I would think there would be a rematch clause in a fight like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's pause real quick. I gotta take a quick break for like 2 minutes.
Serious question. Do you think that Josh Taylor can beat Tank Davis?
I think he has the skill set. There's only one question. Can he take the power?
I think he can.
I think he can land more punches and outpoint Tank just because he's a slick boxer. He takes away the southpaw advantage by being a southpaw. He's taller. He's got longer arms, but he has short arms for a guy his height. He's 5'10.5", but he only has 69-inch, arms.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's short arms. So it is a shorter distance for Tank to close, but Taylor's slick. He's got quick hands. He's a good counter puncher. And he's got a little pop too. So he's a good boxer. He's an above average boxer. So I think he could do it. The question is that when Tank detonates the bombs,
yeah.
How does Taylor handle it?
Yeah.
He really didn't get hit a lot and flushed by Jose Ramirez. And Tank to me has more power than Jose Ramirez. So I just that's the unknown part.
I think it would go similar to the Barrios fight. How long can you stay on the outside before I decide to go forward and chew you up?
Yeah. But I think Taylor. But here's one thing that's different from Taylor from Barrios. Taylor can fight on the inside.
He can, but do you think he's going to stay on the inside?
But see the question. Can you now that we're on the inside? Can you handle, or can you mute, or can you disarm that bomb? Can you take away the power? Can you blunt the power of Tank and disrupt his delivery system? He's got the skills from a distance and inside. I saw him fight Ramirez. He's a good inside fighter.
He is.
So I don't doubt the skills. Again, I just doubt the punch resiliency. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why the fight needs to happen if Tank's gonna stay at 140. The only guy that makes sense for him to fight at 140 is Josh Taylor. Other than that, nobody else makes any sense.
Yeah.
Right now.
Who do you think Tank would take next?
He's fighting in October.
Allegedly, because he's done this before where he said I'm fighting and then it didn't happen.
Well, who knows? Now that the Fury Wilder situation is a mess, and that looks like it's gonna be pushed back to October. And we know why. Yeah, it's being pushed back to October. Fury tested positive for COVID along with supposedly 8 members in this camp. Bob Arum again talking all this noise about, I don't understand if you got COVID, if you got the vaccine, all that, but his team is completely irresponsible, which I don't believe any of that for a second. Fury was out of shape.
Deontay Wilder is vaccinated. Tyson Fury is vaccinated.
Right. But here's exactly. But Fury was out of shape. And I think mentally
the jig is up, bitch.
The jig is up. And I also just think I think Tyson Fury is necessarily afraid? No, I think he's heavily concerned. Because I think why old media keeps trying to project that, Wilder is lost because he's not talking to the media. Wilder's not talking to y'all because y'all full of shit. That's why Wilder's not talking to y'all. Wilder's not talking to you guys because the entire media is not even asking basic questions. Tyson, why did your glove do that? Tyson Fury, we see this slow-mo. How is your glove open like that? Like that hasn't happened to you in any other fights. Why this fight? I hear
Tyson
people making
Fury,
excuses
how come
saying,
you haven't fought in the UK since 2016, 2017?
How come you tested positive for, PEDs, or just asking basic known facts. And so if I'm Wilder, why talk to the media? Why? You don't need to sell the fight. The fight sold itself already. So if he doesn't need to go and sell the fight, What does he need to talk to the media for? He's not getting a fair shake because the media is not covering pertinent facts to boxing. Tyson Fury's gloves looking strange and weird is a pertinent fact. Tyson Fury popping positive for PEDs is a boxing fact. So Tyson Fury never giving Vladimir Klitschko his rematch. All of a sudden now he's got depression after he wins the title. Oddly enough, how his depression lasted long enough to age Klitschko out. So it's just a whole bunch of boxing things that people could talk to Fury about that they don't. So they cannot be trusted and they have no legitimacy, in my opinion. None of them. So
I think now I haven't done it in a while, but I think now I need to go back and watch that Klitschko Fury fight now.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch
it. You need to go back and watch all his fights.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
See what he's doing. I mean, if the guy's cheating and sparring, he'll cheat anywhere. So to not discuss
for
it.
people who are listening, when Jay says he cheats in sparring, what he means is that one of Tyson Fury's sparring partners ended up grabbing Tyson Fury's glove after he left the gym, and when he picked his gloves up, he had no padding in his in the fist part, in the part where you ball your fist up. There was no padding, and the little bit of padding that was in there was pushed back to the back of the fist area. It wasn't on the knuckle; it was on the back of
the top side. Yeah, so the back part of the backhand, your palm, and you go on the opposite of the backhand.
It was on the backhand. And then the rest of it was falling out of the actual gloves. And when he was asked about it, the trainer said that we were just trying to give him install pride and strengthen his mind and build up his confidence. You don't build a fighter's confidence by getting him to hurt another fighter. You build his confidence by making sure that he can work out properly, by applauding him and congratulating him for doing things the correct way, or maybe giving him a smaller glove and seeing how it works in the ring. But you don't take out the pad. Anytime you take out the pad, you're trying to hurt a person. That's all that means.
Not only that, but if you are gonna do something that bootleg, then at least have the ethics and the courtesy and the respect to let the sparring partner know about it. Ridiculous. And give him a decision if he still wants to do that. And they didn't do that. But I digress. So that fight's gonna be in October, and he's gonna use that fight to carry Bud Crawford and Zepeda. Watch.
So is that what you sent me? Because I was wondering, what the fuck is you, So are you saying like they're gonna do a Friday, Saturday, or do you think they'll put them all under the same card?
So they're gonna do a Friday, Saturday. Bud is gonna fight that Friday, and then Fury is gonna fight that Saturday.
Oh, that's right, because that's a whole heavyweight card. That's a whole heavyweight card. Okay.
Exactly.
Because now it makes sense, because I was like,
so they're gonna make it a boxing weekend to own it, and then so now what they're gonna do is, because the fights are so close together, as ESPN promotes Tyson Fury Wilder, they're gonna be promoting. Oh, by the way, see pound for pound, Bud Crawford.
We'll ride
exactly. So they're trying to get on the energy that's already there from the Fury Wilder fight, and they're trying to feed and funnel some of that into Bud Crawford versus Jose Zepeda, because otherwise nobody wants to see that and watch that fight.
Bud Crawford, do you see what they're doing? They're not promoting a fight for you. They're not making you're a main event on a main card on a weekend. Mm-hmm. Yikes, man. Like, how do you keep doing this shit? Like, you got to be comfortable with something like that to let it keep going on, man. I know I wouldn't even stand for it. But anyway, yeah. Deontay Wilder, if you happen to hear this part of the episode, we are wishing you the best, champ. We want you to continue to hone your craft and hone your skills. All they did was make you more angry, I would think. All they did was make you, or give you enough time to work on more things that you've already been working on.
One thing, break down more film, work on more punching combinations, work on the fundamentals, work on your footwork, your head movement, work on being a little bit more defensively responsible. Work on that left hand, get that left hand as close as you can to your right hand. It may not be the same, but become more of a two-handed fighter.
Yes, sir. Make sure your legs are strong. Your core.
Make sure your legs are strong. Build that core up.
Yep.
Yeah, it just gives you more time. And so I think because of the way his situation is, he's not going to overtrain. I think this is going to help him build up. I like that he'll be able to get now a little bit more rest in between the fights. It's not like he's got to cut any weight or he cut weight too early, then he's got to hold the cut longer.
Nah.
So he is in a good spot. And I think mentally this gives him an edge because it's much like Tiafimo with the, pushing back his fight with Kambosos. It's going to give the other guy the mental edge. It's like, okay, this guy's obviously wasn't ready for the fight.
Yeah, because for me, I may just take a couple of days off if I'm a fighter like that. I may just take a couple of days off just to relax myself and decompress.
Right.
But then I'm back in the gym and I'm back working out. I may not work out as hard because I got a couple months to get myself together, but I will scale it back just enough. But I would be when I am in the gym, I would be turned the fuck up. I would be turned
Exactly. No, I agree.
Yeah, I think this is very, very, very beneficial to Deontay Wilder. And
very much so beneficial to Deontay Wilder. It's very different from the Kambosos situation because Kambosos, you have to cut weight, and now he's sitting there.
Yes.
And it's just a more tenuous situation because Wilder Fury don't have to worry about sales. The money's always going to be there.
Yes.
With Kambosos and Teo, that's a lot of stress, man, because it's not selling. So not only when we reschedule this fight, I got to keep on this weight cut. I got to make sure I'm not overtraining. But heck, we haven't even rescheduled the fight yet.
Not just that, but the financial part. Look how long I've been here.
Exactly. Look how long I've been here. Look at the financial piece of it. I've wasted a lot of money. So look, there are a lot of things that's a complete mess of a situation. That's one of the worst situations right now in boxing, in my opinion. So yeah, man, we'll see what happens.
And you have Kambosos winning that fight, right?
No, I've got Teo winning the fight. I just think it's going to be much harder than what he thinks it is. But I need to see, the guy look good at camp leading up to this. Let's see what happens. Let's see where his head is. Teo is the type of guy who's got a lot of physical ability, but I believe when Teo is defeated, I think it's going to be mentally, because I think he makes a lot of really, really poor decisions. And I think he has the wrong attitude. And so I think because of that, I think it's going to cost him.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I think when you play so many games outside the ring, and some of the decisions that he's making, the way he's talking, I think you set yourself up for failure inside the ring, because it means you're focused. You're so busy consumed with playing games that you're not focused on the task at hand. And a guy like Kambosos, who you're already sleeping on, can slip in there and get you for, and steal one from you. And I see Teo as being the guy who's really, really primed for that type of situation. If it's not Kambosos, it's going to end up being somebody else, just because he can't take the heat of, not making more money and being more popular than his contemporaries. He's not making more money and he's not more popular than Ryan Garcia, not more so than Devin Haney, not more so than Tank.
But that's not your wave. You got to play your position in this thing, in life, period. But you got to play your position.
His position should just be boxing. His position should be, I'm just going to be, one guy may be more popular. One guy may know Mayweather. The other, two guys know Mayweather. They may be flashy, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be on top because I'm the best fighter. I'm the best boxer puncher.
Do you think
that's the role he plays?
Do you think the Garcia Tank Davis fight happens this year or next year?
No, I think Ryan Garcia is all cap. He's shown us who he is. Normally people, when they cap on fights, it's at least one fight at a time. This guy manages to break the record and cap in 2 fights in one night. So I don't trust Ryan Garcia as far as I can throw him. And I think he's a fraud. And not a fraud because I don't think he has the skills. I just think mentally he's a fraud. And I think that, he's ducked way too many fights. I mean,
business fraud.
Let's think about this.
He's a business
but fraud. Fighting too. Like, you won't fight. You're the mandatory for Devin Haney. You won't fight him.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying all that together. That's the business of it.
You won't fight Tank. And then let's also add, you also wouldn't fight Fortuna. That's why he's fighting JoJo. So, I mean, that's 3 guys.
In a matter of months.
In a matter of days, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because Tank and Devin were the same night. And then when you decline, like a week later, when Dev think, okay, you're the mandatory, come on, let's go. You're like, you wait a while, you don't say anything. Next thing you know, the W. Suleiman comes out to try to save your skin. And he's like, oh yeah, you and Fortuna fight. Because before, remember, it said, oh, Dev has 2 mandatories. Well, who else has had 2 mandatories? So you make the 2 mandatories fight each other, and the winner takes Dev. So now you won't even take the fight to get that opportunity. Like who turns down a title opportunity?
Not just who turns down a title opportunity, but who gives up their mandatory position to fight another guy to become a mandatory for an eliminator? Like who does crazy shit like that?
I mean, if you duck and look, you duck Tank, I gotta get it. You duck Devin Haney, I can somewhat get it. I can see you, like real talk business-wise, I can see you letting those fights marinate, but he talks too much crap. The thing is, he's too arrogant, and him and Teo make really, really bad business decisions. And whoever their PR people are, they're absolutely idiotic. They should be having them say, look, Devin Haney and Tank are really good fighters. Build the fight, beat all the other guys, get them on your resume, then have it be a big money fight at the end.
Yes.
That's what they should be doing.
Yes.
Trying to undercut the value of Tank and Devin Haney when you know they're the ones who are going to be there is the dumbest possible business move you can make.
So we're basically talking about
it's only 2 guys who are doing this. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna hit on something. And it's a racial thing. Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez are playing to racism in boxing because it's only non-Black fighters who do this. Think about it. They both think because they know boxing has some race issues, it just does, that, nobody's going to say anything. We can undercut the value of Tank and Devin Haney, and the industry won't reflexively clap back at us. But let somebody come and say, Teofimo Lopez is horrible, or he hasn't fought anybody, or he beat Lomachenko barely, but look at his face after the fight, or
that's the only one.
That guy will lose to anybody. Then at that point, the industry would say, no, but Teo's undisputed. He beat the man. Or Ryan Garcia. Oh, Ryan Garcia has 18. The first thing whenever you talk about Ryan Garcia's box skills, he ain't fought nobody. The first thing they talk about is how many Instagram followers he has, right? So you hear the defensiveness and reflexiveness of old media. But then you got them talking about Tank, who has more titles, more wins, more knockouts, making more money. So all the tangible things that matter in the sport, Tank is heads and shoulders above, better than both of them.
Yes.
And you look at a guy like Devin Haney, more money, own promotional company, title holder because Lomachenko ducked him and gave up the super so he can do the franchise nonsense, the franchise designation, which somehow mysteriously became a title, which at first Lomachenko says Teo's not undisputed, but now he thinks he's going to get a rematch with Teo. Now he wants to duck Devin Haney a second time and say, oh, no, but Teo is undisputed. So, it's a bunch of, they all can get away with it because at the end of the day, the people on the other side of that are Black fighters. That's why they're getting away with it.
Yes.
And old media is okay with it. But the problem with old media, why they look stupid is because they keep making the wrong bet. And I don't understand it from a business decision in media.
But I think that speaks to what you were saying, right? The complexion for the protection. They're
protection for the collection.
They're protecting the bullshit. Like if that was a Black fighter doing all this crazy stuff going on media saying 2 rounds, 2 rounds, 2 rounds. I'm knocking them out in 2 rounds. And we didn't take that fight. They will blow our shit up, man. They would say, look at this guy. What an asshole this guy is.
Right. So they make all the excuses. But the problem is that media has to understand is there are receipts now. There are other people who are part of media who can make the old media look really, really, really stupid. And I just think old media, they have to get it together with the network heads because they're devaluing their own brand by not being honest and you can clearly see the bias. Take for instance, like, I'd even use a Black fighter, right? It's only because he's their asset with Bud Crawford. ESPN has put so much energy into Bud being feared and Bud being ducked. But when Sean Porter has been calling out Bud for I don't know how long trying to get a fight, ESPN never says, well, Sean Porter wants to make the fight. Like, I get you were able to cap before because there was no rebuttal, but then there's been a rebuttal. That guy saying, I want to fight. Boots Ennis called him out. So, I mean, several people, Virgil Ortiz called him out. So the thing is, and what they do is everybody's calling out Bud because they think he's the weakest link. They do. Notice how all the fighters, Errol is by far the bigger payday between the two. And he's got the most belts. Notice how they call Bud out first. Two reasons. They think he's an easier fight. And secondly, he's got a strap, which is going to add more value to when they go to negotiate to hopefully get a big fight with Errol. We see this, and every fighter's doing it. Virgil Ortiz knows Errol Spence. He could easily say, I want to fight Errol next. Virgil Ortiz ain't with Top Rank, but who did Virgil Ortiz said, I want to fight next? I want to fight Bud Crawford. Same thing with Robert Garcia. You know, they talk out of both sides of their neck. You know, first is, you know, well, Earl is just basic. Well, Earl was basic enough to beat your obviously less basic brother, right? So if Earl's basic, how does he beat your less
basic brother?
I'm just like, like he's insulting his own brother without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And don't give me what a size differential. He called Earl out and he got in the ring and he signed the contract. So there's no excuses.
Your job was to go in there and go.
That was your job. And you failed. And you failed miserably because your brother, who's supposed to be the superior boxer, got outboxed every minute of that round, of that fight. And the fight and the rounds you did get, Earl let you because he was taking off. He was taking a breather. So, but you call him basic now against Pacquiao. Pacquiao's dynamic. Then when he sleeps Pacquiao, what are you going to say? So at the end of the day, I think what was I going, Robert Garcia? Who was he training? We're talking about who? Just had a brain fart there.
So you were explaining
some whistling in the background. Obviously, there's a teacup going off my background.
You were explaining the situation as far as who calls out Bud Crawford, like why everyone was calling out Bud Crawford.
And so obviously, so Robert Garcia trains Virgil Ortiz. Who does Robert Garcia and Virgil Ortiz want to fight? Bud Crawford.
Absolutely.
So, you know, he says one thing, but he does another. So the guy that's dynamic and, he's a pound for pound guy. And then you got a guy who's just basic, who beat the best fighter that you've ever trained. And easily, by the way, and he beat him on what you say your guy was supposed to be better at. But then the first guy you call out with your second best fighter that you've ever trained in Virgil Ortiz, in my opinion, Junior, you got him wanting to go against Bud Crawford. So, you know, the proof's in the pudding. I don't look at what people say, I look at what people do. And so it's a lot of talk. And back to Ryan Garcia, it's a lot of talk, but no, that fight is not going to happen. I predict that fight will never happen.
Excuse me.
Bless you. I predict that fight will never happen.
What I was trying to get to was that we can basically just call Ryan Garcia a diva of the sport.
No, we can call Ryan Garcia like he's in purgatory, right? He's somewhere in between. He's somewhere in between a lightweight prospect and a YouTuber.
Like, I just think he's a diva.
He's not fully either one of them, right? Is he a real fighter or is he a real YouTuber? I think he's stuck somewhere in this purgatory where he doesn't really know what's going on.
I think a diva.
I mean, he's definitely a diva.
He's bought into this big hype around him that he's this sensation. But, you know, with all the men or who have ever been male divas, they always have that descent, you know, into the pits because they forget to continue to do the work, and we're not seeing him do the work.
Well, he's the champion because he spent a lot of energy. Like for the gram, and this is what people got to understand about social media. See, our generation built social media, and the reason why we're always coming down on these exennials or whatever is because the gram is not real. You can be doing a real activity, but the gram is not the actual proving ground.
Correct.
So for Ryan, he looks like a training monster. You see his videos, he's ducking and dodging stuff. He's people throwing objects at him, and he's ducking and dodging, he's punching stuff, and he's doing these big left hooks, showing how much power and how fast his hands are, but he won't do it in the ring. So I'm just saying, I think with him, there's a lack of confidence. And I think that to me, he should be like in a workout. He should do like training and workout videos as opposed to actually being a fighter. I think he'd be phenomenal at it. He's popular. He's a good-looking young kid. He's got a great following, got a lot of women following him. I think he'd be better off being like Billy Blanks.
Yeah.
Finding his Tybo, as opposed to getting in the ring, because he clearly doesn't want the smoke. Clearly.
Yeah, it's evident. It is quite evident, man. I don't know.
And
what
there's
else
nothing
to say
wrong
about
with
the
that. I
kid.
think you got to find your niche.
Yeah. If you don't want to do it, just say it. Hey, man, you know
the number one rule in everything is know thyself.
Yeah.
And
that's all he got to do is just
himself.
just come out. You know what? I love boxing, but I don't love it that much.
Yeah. And he can be honest about what he doesn't love about it. Ryan, and I could tell with the Luke Campbell fight, Ryan Garcia, not that anybody likes it, but there's levels to it. He really doesn't like getting hit. And I think he was embarrassed that a guy who is not known to not let alone knock guys out, but knock guys down. And it was like a flash. He knocked them down cleanly with a basic maneuver, right? And so
it was an overhand left, right?
It was a straight left.
It was straight. Okay.
It was just a straight left hand. It was nothing flashy or, it wasn't shot of a cannon. It was just basic straight left hand right down the pipe. No trickery, nothing. No big setup to it, just bam.
I would like to see, just because I would like to see Luke Campbell versus Devin Haney. I would like to see how that goes.
Devin Haney would stop Luke Campbell.
I would like to see that.
It wouldn't be like the one punch body shot and then the fight stops. It would be more of a clearly you're being outboxed, clearly you're being tagged a lot, and it would just be the accumulation of punches that would eventually make Luke Campbell quit.
How I think it would go the same way he was trying to do, what Devin Haney was trying to do to Linares. I think it'll go that way.
Yeah, I think Linares is way tougher.
Yeah, we get that, but I'm just saying, I think Dev coming forward and standing in front of him, I think that's what it'll look like.
He would definitely stand in front of Luke Campbell without a doubt. He would relish staying right in the pocket. I don't even think he would even take any steps back. I think he would just literally walk Luke Campbell down, because I don't think he fears Campbell's power. And I think he knows Campbell has his punch resiliency isn't that great.
I think that's a fight they should consider, just to put one of those on there.
Nah, I wouldn't even Luke Campbell just because of the way he ran his mouth and he's talking. I mean, maybe somewhere down the line, if I'm taking a big fight, I would just disrespect him. I would just like, oh man, I just fought such and such a big fight. I'm waiting for the really big fight. So I'm gonna make sure I to keep my skills sharp, and I'm gonna take another fight just to stay busy fight. And I would literally label Luke Campbell a stay busy fight to disrespect him that way. And then if I'm in that situation, then I take Luke Campbell, because it's not a big money fight. And number one, and number two, Luke Campbell is not elite. Every time Luke Campbell has faced elite competition, he's lost.
Well, it isn't a big money fight. Then would you do it overseas?
No.
Just to pull that fan base.
No. If I'm Devin Haney, I listened to what Bill said, and I think they should follow that model. I think they should continue to try to build their brand in Vegas, because there's a huge gap. Floyd owned Vegas. I thought it was going to be Gervonta, but it looks like this Atlanta thing is really, really popping for Gervonta. They really connect with him culturally. And I think Atlanta is going to be his hot spot, which then to me leads, the Vegas is still wide open. And I think Dev should just hop on that. And I think he should do all these fights in Vegas. I think he should almost be like when you go to see the casinos and you see like the different entertainer that's playing that night at Hakkasan. Yeah, like Devin Haney is the boxing, it's always a boxing show in town.
Yeah, the resident
I just
boxing.
Stay in Vegas, man.
Yeah, the resident boxing.
Because number one, you're right there at the center of the universe, and that's where the money is. And so to me, if I'm Dev, no, I take him in Vegas. I only go to somebody else's backyard if they're a titleist and it's a big money fight. Other than that, I fight in Vegas because everybody will come to Vegas. It's a proven business model. People will travel all around the world to come see a fight in Vegas.
True. That's very, very
and
true.
Vegas has the capacity to handle it. If you're a big star, it has the capacity. So no, if I'm him, I'm from here on out, I'm Vegas. If I go to take Tank, I do that in Atlanta,
They gonna
or if it's
come to Vegas for
another,
that fight too, though.
yeah, I do it in Atlanta though. I do it, and I'm gonna tell you why I do it in Atlanta. I do it in Atlanta because Atlanta's like Black Hollywood. You got
Facts.
two premier
Facts.
Black boxers and athletes at the top of their game. I think Atlanta would be because all the best and brightest in anything in our culture, of our culture, they would be there. Not that they would show up in Vegas, but I think you get even more in Atlanta.
I think you got to do that in the stadium, though. If they do that in Atlanta, I
Yeah,
think they
yeah. I
got
mean,
to
you
do
could
that in the
do it in the
stadium.
Falcons. You could do it where the
Yes.
Falcons play. You could do it there.
Yes.
I would definitely do it there. But yeah, I think you do that in that fight in Atlanta. And Tank is the A side in that fight. And so if Tank is good money and good business because Tank has built the market there. And I think that's also a fight that could end up being a trilogy. If I'm Dev, I'm like, okay, Tank, we'll do the first in Atlanta. If I beat you, then you got to do the rematch in Vegas. You got to come to my backyard. I kind of focus on building the business that way in two markets. I wouldn't just keep it in Vegas. I would expand and grow another market and tap into that earning potential.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, from a branding perspective, of what Javante's already done, why not eat off of what he's already building? They got a whole apparatus over there with Mayweather Promotions and PBC. So if I'm Dev, and it's gonna have to be that way anyway, because if he does fight Tank, it's gonna be on PBC, it's gonna be the A side, and he's a free agent anyway. So to me, that's how I look at it. And then the rematch clause, if I win, I would just stipulate the rematch has to be in Vegas.
Sounds good.
That's it.
Sounds good. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
I mean, yeah, other than that, there's nobody else I would fight right now, currently in his division, that I wouldn't fight in Vegas. Nobody else is worth it.
Yeah. I just kind of see Luke Campbell being one of those ones where you go there, gotcha, like
If he was bigger, look, if I'm going to the UK and I'm Devin Haney, it's got to be Wembley. It's got to be Wembley. If I'm not in, then I need somebody in my weight division from the UK that is such a superstar. I need somebody on Anthony Joshua level
yeah.
to where we can go fight in Wembley, because then it is worth the risk, because they're gonna get some home cooking, and the live gate is much bigger, and the money is a bigger fight. I'm not going over to the UK to fight somebody in the O2 arena. I'm not doing that. It's not worth my time. So to me, that's the only way I would go to the UK. And I don't know anybody. I don't see anybody as of right now who is a UK boxer who can fill Wembley. So to me, no, I don't.
Yeah. I don't see nobody there over there filling up for
I don't see
80 to
anybody.
100,000. But I'm sure they would show up. I'm sure you don't think he could give 50 to 60,000 in there?
Luke Campbell couldn't get 30,000.
Oh my
He
God.
would probably honestly get 15,000. Luke Campbell is an O2 arena at best fighter.
Gotcha.
At this point in his career.
Gotcha.
Maybe if you would have got him after the Olympics, maybe if you'd have got him before Linares got to him and before Ryan Garcia got to him.
Did he fight Loma?
Yeah, he fought Loma. Yeah, he fought Loma too. Maybe if you got to him before all those guys, before he got, blemished. And it's not even the fact that he lost, it's how he lost those fights. So, not the UK fans aren't dumb. They support their fighters, but not dumb. So they're not coming at to the clip of 25,000 plus unless they think their guy has a real shot to win. They're not going to come and watch him get knocked out or get outclassed.
Did you really think Ricky hadn't had a chance against Mayweather?
Well, where was that fight?
Oh, true. True. Yeah.
See, he could have filled Wembley, but it's a reason why they didn't do it there, because they know the UK fans are like, no.
But he had a good contingent show up that came over. They said it was about
same thing with Pacquiao. Him and Pacquiao could have filled Wembley. You know why they didn't do it? Because they knew he was going to get knocked out. So it has to be a fight where they think they're at worst 50-50, right?
Gotcha.
But they love 60-40s.
I hear you.
It's just like promoters. They want to make sure they get their guy in there with the right type of odds.
Yeah.
And so for Luke Campbell, those would be horrible odds.
Yeah.
And, you don't want to come in, you don't want to come somewhere, that's like soccer. You don't want to come there and do your soccer chants and wave your flag. And then by the sixth round, your guys, laying, face down on the canvas. It's like, what do you do then? I mean, you go to the pub, what do you do with the flag? You fold it up, put it in your back pocket?
Salute to Errol Spence for going over to Sheffield and bringing that strap back.
Well, yeah, because they thought Kell Brook was going to beat him.
Yeah,
so
it was 50-50. That was 50-50.
It was truly a 50-50 fight. Some people thought maybe 55-45 in Brook's favor.
Yeah.
So, that's one of those rare opportunities you get that. And again, it was in Sheffield. It wasn't at Wembley, So to me, it was a different stadium. So to me, no, for Dev, no. There's only one fighter. The only other fighter who could may have Dev go somewhere else, but it's not going to happen. Could have been Ryan Garcia, right? Because he's a big enough attraction. If he would have made another market his home and he was actually a fighter who would fight people, then he would have been a big enough star to maybe go to another market. But he's not fighting. He doesn't have it in him. He's not a big enough star actually in the fight game to command that. So to me, it's just Tank. Tank is the only guy that you leave Vegas for.
All right, well, that's
and it still helps Dev out because could you imagine if Dev beats Tank in Atlanta?
That puts his name up there now.
I mean, would be beyond it. I mean, so you already Mr. Vegas, but now you've also grabbed Black Hollywood.
Woo! Now you cooking.
See, you're not just cooking. I mean, you got a whole chain of restaurants,
right,
nationwide. It's gonna be called Haney's,
right?
I mean, that's huge for them, and I want to see both of them do it because it'd be huge for Gervonta too. I want to see them both build themselves up and have it be a huge super fight, so that actually, number one, they both benefit from it, and that the winner really, gets. Becomes an all-time great. I want it to be one of those types of things.
Do you think after this fight with Castaño, Mel will stay at 154 or he'll go to 160?
I think Mel stays at 154. I think he fights Lubin and he licks Lubin again just to prove his point. And then I think he moves up.
Okay.
Because there's nobody else. After Lubin, because with Lubin, yeah, he knocked him out. It was so quick and it was so devastating. It was one punch. So people, you got this whole, that was a lucky punch thing. And knowing Mel's energy and his attitude, he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna show you it wasn't lucky. So I see Castaño, I see Lubin, and then I see him moving to middleweight. And middleweight is an easy division, and it's also historical. And I think it's the reason why Maul, people don't think about this, I think it's the reason why Maul has been really strategic about with the unifications, because I think they want to be two twin brothers in the same division that are champions. I don't think that's ever happened before in boxing.
They did at 154.
Okay. But I mean, so I think they would try to do it in 160. I think that's the play. And I think they let Earl come in and fill out 154 and see what he can do at 154. And then they're belt holders at 160. And then I think Maul is the only one who can flex between 160 and 168 if it's the right type of fight.
Man,
but obviously Benavidez is trying to throw a wrench in that by saying I'll come down to 160. So we'll see how that all shakes out.
The monster.
He could definitely throw a wrench in it. When he says something, I believe him. I don't think he should do it. I think it's a bad move for him. I think he should keep himself. It's not worth coming down for Maul. I get what you think about Maul, but Maul isn't. If Maul was a pay-per-view star, I would do it. But he's not. I know. DB is doing it out of like pride and like you said you gonna whip me, and that's just some street stuff, and I respect that. But it's a business. I think it's a bad business decision because the risk isn't worth the reward. I think he should stay at 168. I think he should continue to leverage this Plant Canelo situation to make sure he secures his Canelo bout before Canelo, goes another direction. And I think I think that's what's holding up the Canelo Plant fight. I think that Al is like, when you did a 2-fight deal with DAZN, I want a 2-fight deal with PBC. Because Canelo doesn't have a network, so there's no excuses. You can't say, well, I have a contractual obligation to this promoter or to this network. So why can't you fight on Fox pay-per-view? Okay, get Plant, and guess what?
Add
The
this
lineal
one.
WBC champion is David Benavidez. Fight
Yeah.
David Benavidez.
No one's
I
beat
think that's the
David.
holdup.
No one's beat
Yeah.
David.
So and so to me, and that's a huge fight. That's a pay-per-view fight. Canelo and Plant. I mean, will it be pay-per-view? Probably so. But the real pay-per-view fight is Canelo and David Benavidez. So to me, if I'm David, I don't risk that trying to drop weight and kill myself to go get Charlo when I'm already in prime position at 168 to get Canelo. Because let's be honest, Canelo ain't staying at 175.
No, I don't think
he may pick and choose certain things,
yeah,
but he won't be able to survive at 175 because there's other guys coming around at 175 who are going to be a serious problem that I don't care how good the skills are, it's just going to be a problem for him. So I just think that 168 is his division. And if I'm DB, I stay at 168. I murk everybody else. You know, I say, hey,
I'm the best.
Morrell,
I've been the
David
best.
Morrell, you hear PBC. You know, I get it. People saying you're good and this and that. If you want to really test your skills, you want to step up. Come on, I'll lick you. Hey, Berlanga, let's do it with both
I'll
Latinos.
back off Morrell. I'll give him some time, Jay. He needs some time.
No. I don't think that fight's gonna happen. Number one, I say it though. I say it, but because people are talking about him now. But I say it just to make the record clear, so you don't come across looking like Keith Thurman, right? I'm here, but I'm not gonna give a guy a shot. But let's be honest, Morrell don't want that fight right now. And Morrell's people don't want that fight. He'll be advised to get probably several more fights.
I think they got the same promoter. I think they both got Sam.
Yeah, they're both PBC.
I think they got Samson, though. I think they both got Samson.
So I just think the way that'll work is
Berlanga, hell yeah. Get that Berlanga fight, DB.
So I can see Berlanga, but Berlanga's top rank. But I definitely see him saying, hey, Berlanga, he can get the smoke. Hey, you know, if Plant wins, he can get the smoke. But I would not come off 168 pounds if I'm David Benavidez to move down to 160 to fight Jamal Charlo. I would not. That's a bad business decision.
I hear you, but you know, when a guy is determined,
he got his mind made up.
And he, like we said, like we spoke over the phone, he could just be fucking around with Charlo, knowing at this point that it ain't gonna happen. But
I think he is, but I think he would do it if Charlo said come to 160. But let me tell you what's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen because Charlo's gonna be like, well, you're not even ranked in the WBC at 160. So unless he goes to Suleiman and Suleiman slides him in there, which Suleiman could do,
he would could do it. Like that. But the whole thing, if you say that I'm not ranked at 160, now you're making up another fucking excuse for me.
Well, of course, he wants to make Charlo do that. But Suleiman and Canelo love this because Suleiman, this is the Canelo Witness program. So they're like, yes, we can either weaken him, he can take a chance, or we move him out the way because now he's down in middleweight. He's not in your weight, Canelo. And now people are not gonna be talking about it. You ain't fight him, and that he's lineal because now all people gonna talk about him and Charlo. So I'm pretty sure, you know,
it was still working DB favor. It was still working DB favor because then you would say he moved down to 160 to fight a guy that you wouldn't even fight for the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, I don't think he did do that
because he don't need to. I'm just saying, like they would look at it and go, well, he still fought him. Well, why ain't Canelo fight him?
To me, he's fine. Maul's talked about going to 168 to fight Canelo. DB's name came up because he's at 168. Maul talked that talk, and DB accepted the challenge. Maul declined the challenge. Nothing else needs to happen. Yeah. It's evident.
Yeah.
I would not go down to 160 because it's not going to prove anything. Because eventually, if Maul wanted the Canelo fight, he's going to come up to 168 anyway.
I don't even know why he keeps asking for that fight.
Well, Reynoso already said Canelo is not coming down.
He's not coming down. Like you keep asking for that guy. You should be worried about Murata, Golovkin, and anybody else at 160. That's what you should be worried about. Stop yelling out Canelo. Canelo ain't coming down there for you, dog. You ain't even a pay-per-view fighter yet.
And that's my point. That's why if I'm David Benavidez, I'm not fighting him. He's not a pay-per-view fighter. He's not. I'm not going to get his crowd because his people know about me, watch me anyway. I have nothing else extra to gain to help me get the big fights I really want to get, which is the Canelo fight. I've got to build my name up big that if Top Rank and Bob Arum is going to feed me Berlanga, I got to be huge. I got to be big. So what do I need to do to be big to get a Berlanga? Because a Berlanga fight to me is bigger than a Jamal Charlo fight, in my opinion.
It is. It is.
So
Take
to
some
me,
pride on that one.
then either you beat Plant and take his strap. See, now Bob Arum be like, oh, put that strap on the line. Maybe I'll think about and Bob Arum still wouldn't do it. But then if he goes and he beats Canelo, see, then Bob does that fight. Because that's such a big money fight that Dave takes all the glory. He's got all the belts at 168. And then Berlanga, who's over in the Winners Protection Program in Top Rank, is now the last guy standing, potentially. And then you do that, but knowing Al, that's why he like having David Morrell, because Berlanga don't have a lot of fights and Morrell don't have a lot of fights. He said, well, Berlanga, maybe you should fight David Morrell.
He got 3 times as many fights as David Morrell.
He does?
He got 18, man. 17, 18.
David Morrell has what? He only has 6 fights, or did
6
he have
or
8
7
fights? So yeah, then he does have, you're right. Then he does have 3 times more. That would be a good fight though.
I don't want to scar Morrell right now. Let that cat build it up, man.
Yeah, I know. We'll let him marinate, bro. But that guy, hey, he likes to scrap, and Berlanga likes to scrap. I think that would be a good fight.
I don't know.
No, he needs more time. I know you at least want 2 more years. I know. I get it.
Yeah. I do think that if he gets caught up in, and that's Puerto Rico versus Puerto Rico. Is it Puerto Rico, Cuba?
Morrell's Cuba.
I think he goes into the inside and bangs out Berlanga. That's me.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that fight boils down to 2 things: Berlanga right hand and Morrell straight left. And so now they cancel each other out. So now whoever has the better jab wins that fight.
Who better makes the better adjustments, and I think Morrell will just make the better adjustments.
I think Morrell will make the better. I think Morrell's a better overall boxer than Berlanga.
That's a fact.
Now anything can happen in the ring. Berlanga could hit you with that 1 hit a quarter, and that's all she wrote. But I think Morrell is the better boxer between the 2.
Yeah, I just, like I told you when we saw that fight a couple of weeks ago, I was like, man, he just needs to get more time.
Yeah, he needs more experience. He needs to get more fights. He needs to go deeper into fights, and he needs to keep taking better competition. I think now, he'll get a couple step up fights coming.
Now, if his skill set is really that like a Lomachenko, where you can just throw him in there with guys and do what you gotta do. So
word on the street is that's what they compare him to in terms of, because he got such an extensive amateur pedigree.
Okay.
That they think that his skills wise is already there. Okay. I still think they're gonna put some Lowry season salt on him for a minute.
You got to, because that's a bigger division, and getting clipped by one of them punches is different.
And you already got Benavidez right there. So if I'm Morrell, I eat food on my side of the block that's underneath David Benavidez. I let Benavidez handle his business. And if there's a big fight at the end that's all PBC to be had, you got the inside track for that fight. You don't have to worry about having to be hard to make that fight. That's the easiest fight to make.
Yep.
So if I'm Morrell Jr., that's what I do. And but at the moment where you're ready to talk about a David Benavidez, you still gotta come for the head of Berlanga. You got to, because Benavidez is ahead of Berlanga.
Absolutely.
So they're both competing to get to where Benavidez is right now. And then Benavidez is trying to get Canelo. That's why I don't think it makes sense for him to give up his positioning and go down to 160 to fight Charlo. I don't think it's worth the risk.
That's just me being theoretical about the Charlo Benavidez thing, but.
And he wouldn't get the fight anyway if he got down to 160, because Maul ain't taking that fight even when he get down to 160.
Well, I don't know, man.
Maul, Maul gonna say GGG?
Well, you should keep hollering out GGG. You should keep hollering out GGG. I would like
he got food too. He got GGG and he got Andre, so he has some ample distractions that he can fight the legitimate fights ahead of Benavidez.
Murata's there too, but he ain't gonna do nothing but stay in Japan. He ain't gonna come over here for that smoke. Allegedly, he's supposed to fight Golovkin by the end of the year. Remember, I told you it was gonna. A prediction. I was like, by January, he'll end up fighting Murata. And look how that shit kind of played out. Man, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about Golovkin, man. I'm not the
I'm gonna
biggest.
tell you who I like. I'm gonna tell you who Murata's gonna end up fighting. Um, the guy to just be Rob Brandt, Janabek. He's solid. The southpaw.
Man, he was clipping Brant.
Rob Brandt, yeah.
He was
See,
clipping Brant.
Janabek is a good fighter. People sleep on him. Another one with really good amateur pedigree. I think he's the guy that you're gonna see get a GGG or get a Murata before an Andrade or a Charlo will.
Mm.
He's just very well positioned, especially Murata, because Janabek is, he's from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. He's from somewhere over in that part of the world. So I think that's at least regionally, a bigger fight for that region to fight a Janabek versus Murata. And that's why GGG and Murata is a big fight, because again, it's in that hemisphere of the world. So you have to think about it from a geographical standpoint too.
Gotcha.
And so I think those three are going to, I think, figure their thing out. And that's why I think Charlo and Andre need to figure their thing out in this hemisphere.
I'm sure we've spoken on this before. Who do you think wins that fight, Charlo or Andre?
Oh, man. It's a 50-50 fight. I can't say anybody wins because to me, they both had subpar performances their last fight. When I look at these guys, at least off the last performances, I don't see them elevating from where they currently were. They're both kind of like still stagnant to me right now. They're stuck at their spot, which is why they need each other. Because I think in order for either one of them to elevate their game, they're going to have to fight better competition, which is each other. They would both be each other's best competition to date.
Facts.
And then let the cream rise. And I think they're going to have to answer the challenge and fight each other. Because I think, why there's always going to be a winner or a loser, but at the end of the day, it's going to make both of them better. And so I'm hoping that's the fight to make, is those two guys. And you let GGG, he's not going to fight you anyway, bro. So let him do the Murata and Janabek thing. Let that happen. And then whoever's left standing over there, you're here, and then you got your baby brother moving up, and then you guys try to go ahead and dominate the middleweight division and do what you did at 154.
And then you can still have, and then in the process, a rematch would just make them more money. People want to see that fight. Money.
Yeah, people want to see that fight. And again, I think Black fighters have to start fighting each other and building their own market. And follow the pathway of the greats from the past, of Hearns and Hagler, Hearns and Leonard, and all those guys. Those guys all fought each other.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Even though, in my opinion, people were scared to fight, a certain person was scared to fight Marvin Hagler, and he was trying to wait to see some slippage, and it didn't really happen.
In the microwave.
But I think no, you're good. I think that's a good fight, and I definitely want to see Charlo versus Andre. I just feel like I just feel like Andre can outbox him. I just feel like he can outbox him. The only way Mill to get him is to go in there and try to tear him off.
Well, here's the thing: Maul will bang it out, and I think the problem with Andre is Andre lets the other guy get on the inside. He doesn't keep the other guy on the outside, and he gives away his advantage generally midway through the fight. He's not disciplined enough to just stick to outboxing a guy and then setting him up. He'll stun a guy early, and then he's in constant decline each round. And I would like to see it the other way around. I would like to see him slowly build and then, get better as the fight goes along to a crescendo. So to me, because he's upside down in that area, that's why I have to favor Maul, because I would think eventually Maul would get on the inside, touch him up, and then that would be.
I hear you. I just think that's a fight that he would both of them would get up for that fight, and I just think that.
Agreed.
In situations like just going back to the whole Andre versus Willie Nelson for that fight, He didn't act a
Mhm.
fool. Like he was disciplined, and he outboxed Willie Nelson for that fight. And he wanted to
Correct.
win. He wanted to win that fight and be champion and everything. And I think against a Charlo, he would have more discipline. I would hope that he would have more discipline and be dedicated to outbox them all and keep them all on the inside using that long, wiry frame that he has. And if he does go to the inside, it's let me get mine, steal mine, and then let me get out and leave you with nothing. Let me rob the bank and
Yeah.
get nothing.
I think that would be the game plan, but we've both seen time after time Andre lacked the discipline to stick to the game plan. And because I think he's emotionally invested because there's personal animus between the two of them, I just think he would break down from a discipline standpoint and give Maul the opportunity that he needs. I think he outboxes Maul, but I think Maul lands the big shot and hurts him. And I think, now here's the thing: if
At
Maul
some
hurts him
point,
too
they're
late
gonna
and he
trade.
doesn't
They're
finish
gonna
him, we'll
trade.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna trade, and we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, what we're both saying is they need to make the fight.
Yes.
To me, it's the only
Absolutely.
fight either one of them should make. Because look, Maul, you're not getting Canelo, you're not getting Triple G. They're really trying to push Triple G hard with Andre, but Triple G's not going to fight Andre. It's just not going to happen. He's going to fight Murata.
Andre Meach, if you listening, bro, they gonna keep you away from that fight. You've been over there for 3-4 years, man.
And there's more money in the Murata fight. Again, us Westerners, especially Americans, tend to think the whole world is just America.
No.
But there's a whole other part of the world. And when you look at Murata, who is obviously a champion at 160, and he's from Japan, and then you look at Triple G, and Triple G is what is he Kazakh? Is he from Kazakhstan?
Kazakhstan, yeah.
So when that's in the Eastern Hemisphere. So in terms of his people traveling, and the fight would definitely be in Tokyo. All right, it would definitely be in Japan. Murata being, the champion, and he's got a built-in market there. The local promoter base, they're going to put big money up for that fight.
Oh yeah, you know that.
And it's going to have a good live gate because of that audience. It's a regional audience that fits, the demographics fit in that region for those two fighters.
Yes.
So that's a bigger fight, and that's a bigger money fight. And at his age, Triple G is going to go for make the best business decision.
Yes.
Over anything. So I get a belt, and I get to make more money, and my fan base gets to come, and I can be the big fish over here.
And DAZN has put on cars over there already, so
yeah, and they've done it. So to me, that's what's going to happen. And so to me, they actually need each other. And I think whoever, even a person that loses benefits.
Yeah,
because at least they can say they have that name on their resume. And let's be honest, other than Canelo Triple G, that would be the best comp anybody's faced, or the best fight that's ever been made at 160 in recent years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So win, lose, or draw, I think that's the situation.
Big Charlo, come on, man. Meech, y'all put that fight together. Y'all need each other for that fight. That's a fight where y'all can make some good cash, man.
Yeah, they can be good money. And, I'll tell you exactly where they should do that fight. They should do that fight in Atlanta.
You think that should be Atlanta?
I think that should be Atlanta. Because look at it. Here's why.
And I would take that shit back to Houston, my guy.
You of course you would, but then that's Charlo's backyard. Now, I think Andre will want something more neutral. I think you go to Houston, yes. But I think these guys, again, they have to think outside the box and look from a branding perspective. Charlo has already got Houston. I mean, he got the keys to the city. I mean, his brother, right? Facts. So you can fight, this lemon glass and do big numbers in Houston.
Yeah, people will show
right?
up.
But now, if you want to get the bigger fights, what draw are you outside of Houston? How have you built up your fan base outside of Houston? So you go to another market where there are a lot of African Americans. Now you have two African American champions, two Black champions, and you fight them in a tier 1, tier 2 market, tier 1 market, and a place where you have the elites come out, right? The Hollywood. So if you're not doing the fight in Los Angeles, which I don't think is a good idea, Atlanta would be the perfect place.
To do
that fight?
Do you do?
And again, Tank's already built that market.
Correct.
The fight fans come out. That would be I'm gonna get dressed up and show out. That's a step and repeat red carpet type thing.
Definitely.
Because again, Tank went, and we're talking about he was going for the regular championship. Yes, Tank is a superstar, but these guys are both current real champions
Yeah.
in the division, and they're
And
both
everybody
black,
is going to want to see that.
and they're both in their prime. This is
Yeah.
not a younger guy, older guy,
Yeah.
intercontinental champion and super
Yeah.
champion and regular champion. No,
Yeah.
these are two real champions, and it's in a historic weight division. It's in the middleweight division.
Yeah. The
So
boxing
I
world
just
would
think,
love that.
man, take that,
Bro, and it would be
take-
for the WBC and the WBA.
and think about it. People from Texas can travel to Atlanta. Where's Andre from? Andre from the East Coast, didn't he?
Yeah, he from Long Island.
So yeah, so he from bam.
4 hour plane
Try,
ride, I think.
do some triangulation there. Bam,
Yeah.
right there.
For all of them.
That's
boop,
why.
boop, boop, boop.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's exactly where I would do it. And they both
Absolutely.
win because they both gain more fans. And the money's gonna be there.
Oh, you know
The
that.
money's gonna be there.
You
So
know
to
that.
me, that's the fight to make. That's the location that I would do it. And
The
it's
boxing world would show up.
Boxing world will show up, Black Hollywood will show up, other people will show up, and it's a unification. And it's also big just in boxing business because you got a guy who signed to Matchroom and under his own network, fighting a guy who is with PBC and who's on Showtime. So to me, that's something else that's groundbreaking that you don't see a lot, that they can really say, hey, we really want to make this happen. Even though we have different promoters, even though we're on different networks, this fight had to happen. Yeah. This is the clash. This is the middleweight. These are the two best middleweights because we're the only two who are willing to fight each other. See, those are the things that they can really say. And because they're on this half of the hemisphere and the other side don't even care, not even thinking about it, they can say it and it will completely sell.
Do you think that would be like a Hagler-Hearns fight, maybe?
Of course it would. See, and so I would do the same thing. I would do the same strategy with Triple G and Murata. Oh, we're the two top middleweights. We're the two that want to fight each other. So if you're talking about that part of the hemisphere, all those people are going to drink that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
They don't know who Jamal Charlo is. They don't know who Demetrius Andrade is. They can care less. They can look on Boxer, right? But they don't know who these guys are. And even if they do know who they are, they don't care because they're Black and they're American.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, that makes a great fight. I say we got Eastern Hemisphere, we got Western Hemisphere, and then you put the two winners. To me, that's how I would position it.
Yeah.
If I'm Jamal or if I'm Demetrius, I kind of do what Ryan Garcia said, but actually have the balls to follow through with it. Ryan Garcia had a great idea. Hey, it's four of us. These two fight, then the winners fight each other, and maybe the losers fight each other.
Yeah.
Now he just didn't have the balls to go through with it. Now I think Maul or Andre should say, okay, Murata, GGG, y'all go ahead and handle y'all business over there. We're gonna have a lot of business over here. And hey, let's get at it.
Make that fight, champs. Come on, champs. Make that fight. We need to see that. The best have to fight the best, man.
It makes sense from a sporting perspective, and it makes great business sense. And it's
going to be geographically. That's going to be history, man.
Wow. That is history. Yeah, literally, they could literally say Hagler-Hearns. They could literally, say Hagler-Leonard. They can pull from something that is historic that's already happened, and they can use that energy and then say, and we're gonna do it in Atlanta. We're gonna do it in Chocolate City. We're gonna do it in Black Hollywood.
Man, that's crazy.
It's huge. It is at all the athletes, NBA, because from a cultural perspective.
And the NBA players, and the football players love boxing.
The entertainers are gonna come.
Yes. Like, Denzel gonna show up. Dr. J gonna show up.
Yeah, and there'll be some crossover. There'll be other people from other demographics who will show up to that fight.
Absolutely. It'll be epic. That'll be epic.
And then when you think from an entertainment perspective, just think about the festivities during that weekend, all the pre-fight parties, all the fight parties. What it would do to the local economy. That's another reason why I do it. I do it because of the benefit they can have to the local economy there. And so you ingratiate yourself to a demographic that receives boxing very well. You saw that, and that was Tank Barrios. That wasn't Tank in another black fight. That was Tank and Barrios.
If Charlo were to win, would you take the next one to Houston?
No. So if it's Charlo, here it is. I believe in thinking outside the box and building brands. So if you got Charlo, let's say if it's Charlo and it's GGG. Well, let's say it's Murata, because we know GGG is not going to do it. Or I mean, it could be
No, I'm
GGG
just,
because the money do
I'm
make
just
the
saying,
money
like
big.
Andre Charlo, whoever won, he said, "Yo, I want my rematch for my belt."
So if you do a rematch, then yeah, I think the rematch should go in the winner's venue of choice. So if it's Charlo, yeah, you do the second fight in Houston. If it's Andre, then to me, you do the next fight, you do it in the Garden.
Facts,
You
facts.
know, so
Do
if
you
that's
think
how.
Andre? Do you think he's a big enough draw for the Garden,
See, here's the thing.
or would he just
Off
be
the
after that
energy,
fight?
but see, off the energy. See, again, you got to think business and you got to think behavioral, how people behave. If they put on an epic performance in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
people travel New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, Houston, Dallas. These are normal travel routes. So people who watch the fight in Atlanta are going, who wouldn't travel to New York to go see a fight in the Garden?
Oh, the Mecca of
Who,
boxing.
who
Oh,
wouldn't travel? Who wouldn't travel if you were to go see a fight in Atlanta and you already in the South? Who wouldn't just go west? You know what I'm saying? To go see the fight in H-Town.
yeah,
So who wouldn't do that? And so to me, it makes all the sense in the world to do it. The venues are there, the markets are there, the demographics are there, the
absolutely.
viewership is there, the money is there. The money's there inside the ring and outside the ring. A lot of people can't
Man,
say that. And the thing is, they could have all the money to them. It's not like
bro,
they got to have a Canelo to go do that. They can build their own thing.
that would
And
be
at
all
the end of the
them.
day, no matter who actually wins or loses the fight, they both win in life. And that's how these guys got to start thinking. And so to me, that's how I would do it. I think what's missing in boxing is there aren't a lot of branding and marketing experts because just the way people think, they're too busy focused on A side, B side, and having everything locked in. Like the A side is definitely locked into this, and the B side is only locked into that. When if you look at it from a business perspective, there's a multitude of somebody can be the B side in terms of the leverage they have, but they can get A side money
Correct,
based off how it's marketed,
correct.
right? So it's like they just have to expand their horizons, and I like the conversations that we have about this because I think what the part that a lot of people don't talk about, they talk about the business of boxing, but they don't talk about boxing business,
Yeah, the
right?
branding of the fighters and everything like that.
Exactly. And then how you tap into certain markets, you can be
Correct.
strategic, and how you take some things that are historically popular in boxing, but then how you can build off that and expand to some things that are just very, very known commodities in business in general, right?
Hey, yeah.
And
Hey,
because at the end of the day, it's
Demetrius.
a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Demetrius. You want a sponsorship? You want a shoe deal or something? I'm sure we could work on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure like building a brand. Man, that would be so crazy. You get a
Yeah.
Coca-Cola deal or a Pepsi deal or burger deal.
Let's keep it simple.
Nike.
They can do a deal with boxing gloves. You know, they can do a deal with hand wraps. There's
Yeah.
so many things that are branded that they can just do strictly in their vertical industry in
Yeah.
boxing. Now,
Imagine
of
having a
course,
Nike glove
yeah,
for yourself.
right. Now to me, they're not neither one of them are at that level yet. They need to
No.
have this fight and another one to get to the level. Like the guys who are at that level are like a Canelo, a Pacquiao, a Tank is approaching that level. If
Yes.
Errol Spence beat Pacquiao, he's that level. It's where they transcend sports and then they can get out to mainstream and do branding deals.
Bang bang.
Those guys are there because you just when you become a household name, like Canelo's a house like Canelo, right?
Yeah.
Manny or Pac-Man. When it gets to that one word thing, then
You are a
that's when
brand.
you Barrera,
Yeah.
right? Tank, Tank is already there. You got to keep it real simple. So with Earl, it'll be the truth. So for him, if he beats him, then yeah, everybody know what the truth is. So it's already right there. And
Yeah.
so being from my background in brand management and having a background in textile marketing doing fashion, you simplify things like that. That's how the sausage is made in the sausage factory. And then you put the skin on it, and you roll it up
Package
and you
it
put it
up.
out there
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
consumption.
Yeah.
And sometimes people eat the thing whole, and sometimes people chop it up and throw it in something.
Yeah.
Either way you get yours. So to me, that's where they're missing a huge, huge opportunity. Like they can literally be as big as Canelo and Benavidez. They
Facts.
could.
Facts.
They could. And if you ask me, they could be bigger. And here's why they could be bigger. Because while Canelo has Mexico, Mexico ain't America. And so let's say, who has the bigger celebrities? Who has the bigger stars? Who has the bigger net worth?
Biggest consumption markets.
So if you think about, okay, in Atlanta, Maul, Andrade, Denzel, LeBron, KD, Dame Lillard. Let me go with guys. Let me give respect to guys who actually watch the fight game. Dame Lillard. All right. You got Dame Lillard, Dame Dollar showing up. You got, you got all the guys in hip hop, the top music guys there, top people in entertainment, period. And then you got, people in media there. Then you're gonna have your other dignitaries there. Hell, Barack Obama may even show up.
You're gonna have boxers that show up.
Now, what can David Benavidez and Canelo do bigger than that?
Besides fight, I don't know, man.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about the business of it. See, a lot of it is the brand, the identity, the image. When you see it, what do you see? When I see Maul and Andre, and I think about what's the best it could be, okay, Obama, I can see Obama, I can see Denzel, I can see Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Two really good looking guys.
I can see this. I can see the bigger stars. Mayweather's gonna be there. Other great stars. Earl's gonna be there. All the top guys in boxing gonna be there. NFL guys gonna be there.
Absolutely.
UFC guys gonna be there. Now, when you look at Canelo and David, yeah, you get some UFC guys, you get that. But in terms of celebrity and sheer amounts of them, Maul and Andrade in Atlanta could get more than Canelo and Benavidez could.
Yeah.
Strictly off the strength of the culture. See, we always talk about culture vultures and how people monetize our culture. It's because we choose not to monetize our culture.
And build that shit, yeah. Yeah.
Because they would get bigger stars than Canelo and Benavidez could. Because what's the bigger market?
That night, that would be a crazy night. And then I'm sure they would look at the numbers and go, we gotta do it again. We gotta do it again.
Okay. And wow, are you really losing if you took that fight to the Garden if it's Andrade who wins? Are you really losing if you took that fight to, the Toyota Center in Houston where the Rockets play? Are you losing? No, you're not losing. You're winning.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Your markets are right there. Huge African-American population on the East Coast. Huge African-American population in Houston.
That would
and
be
in
crazy.
Texas.
That would be so crazy.
And the celebrities would go to those markets. So if I am Damian Lillard and I'm watching this trilogy, the first one in Atlanta, hell yeah. Let's say the next one is at the Garden in New York, historic. That's New York, global market. Oh, bam, then, oh, damn. Maul got his get back. Now the last fight, the trilogy fight, is in Houston.
Right.
Chocolate City. What? One of the fastest growing populations in America, fastest growing cities. Damn, man.
Now you're talking about guys getting 30 to 50 million in fight at that point.
That's my point.
It would be 30 and probably more on the back end because of the pay-per-view sales. That would be so crazy. What?
Exactly. See, and that's how you make, to me, that's what business lacks. Boxing lacks. Boxing lacks. They have people who know how to do business, do contracts, but they lack a lot of people who don't understand branding. Because in order to brand and build identity, you have to have vision. You have to be able to see it before it happens. And to me, this is a no-brainer. Minimum is 2 fights, minimum, right?
Yeah.
And as long as there's no catastrophic injury or something like that, it's a fight and a rematch. So you're guaranteed Atlanta, Houston, Atlanta, New York. How do you lose?
Bro, I believe if they were to sit down with somebody and be able to show that to them, there's no way.
And look at the leverage they have with each other. They do a big fight. Now here comes Canelo. Oh, you got some money. I want in.
Yeah.
Look at the leverage you get now. They've been a big, Canelo level 168. I'll come down to 160 for real for now. See, now okay, baby, you come down to 160. You're going to come down on my terms, not on your terms.
Right.
Leverage.
Right.
So from a business perspective, from a branding perspective, that's how I manage my affairs. If I'm Maul and Andre, they should be, even though I like each other, I've never liked everybody I've done business with, but it's about getting a done, and you want to have it where it's mutually beneficial. Those two guys should be able to sit down and discuss how they can do something that's mutually beneficial, because both of them are going to come out of it better than they went into it. More people are going to know who they are. They're going to make more money than they ever made doing anything else. They're going to build an audience. They're going to bring in new people into boxing. And the reason why is because once all those celebrities come, all those people who follow those celebrities are going to come and look at it, because that's what the celebrities are looking at.
And now you force a guy like
and
Triple
lastly,
G.
now you become a celebrity.
Yep.
See, it's the trifecta. It's all right there for these guys.
Now you start forcing all them belts to come to you. Bring them belts on over here.
Now the beauty of, and it puts you on the A side. So when you're talking about a Canelo, that's how you build yourself to become the A side. On top of that, you make all this money. There's so much money there to be made. And there's money to be made big for the winner and for the loser.
And you talking about that middleweight when y'all being the best of the best in the division. Like you said, a trifecta.
Really losing. And the reason why the timing is perfect now, it's not like there's one or two or three other guys that people are like, oh, you're denying this guy his opportunity.
Nah, this
nobody
is
over here. Nobody over here even really cares about GG. He's old. Nobody even cares and knows Murata. Nope. And nobody knows Janabek. Nope. So nobody's going to be saying, you guys can't keep fighting each other in this trilogy because you got to give Janabek an opportunity. Nobody's saying that shit.
No, nobody even
cares. That's why it's perfect.
Absolutely.
That's why it's perfect, bro.
I agree with that. It would be perfect for them to do that. Like you said, Atlanta, winner gets to go home. Ticket sales go through the roof. Whoever wins that, if it's another rematch, and then we got to come back, that's just nothing but money to be made.
So you know who's doing that? You know who's doing that right now? Mayweather is between Tank and Dev. See,
I know he saw that years. I know he saw that shit years ago.
He saw it years ago. He's like, okay, notice, Dev keep calling out Tank because Tank is the star. Dev is not a star yet, superstar yet. No, notice how Tank clap back at everybody else, but he don't clap back at Dev. Notice that.
On Dev.
He waiting on Dev, and he's like, okay, Dev, you got to clout chase me a little bit, but it's good because it's good for both of us because it's building your value.
Yep.
Now you keep winning. I'm gonna keep going up down these divisions, knocking guys out, picking and choosing my fights, becoming the superstar.
Yep, I'll wait you out.
Now, both of us rise, which means there's more money, a bigger pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. See, that's good business. Dev is like Vegas, Tank is like nigga Atlanta. See, so they can do the same thing. See, it's smart. And the thing with them is they're younger, coming into their prime. The other thing is they have other foes. They have other legitimate foes that if they beat, people are like, whoa, they beat T.O. Oh man, he just murdered Brian Garcia. Oh wow, they beat the great, the Matrix, Lomachenko. They actually have an even sweeter situation.
Absolutely.
They can make
before getting to each other, they can be
So their fight, their super fight, if they build it the right way, could be bigger than Maul and Andrade.
Absolutely.
Because there's more competition and more fights that people want to see in that division. And they have the most important thing that Andrade and Charlo don't have is they have more time.
Yes.
See, that's how I see things playing out. And you can do all this and not have to deal with doing business with Bob Arum.
Never had to look that way.
Never had to look that way. You can do all this and not have to deal with Eddie Hearn. See, and this is what I would do if I was advising, if I worked for Al, or if I worked with these guys.
Like, look, y'all really want to make some money? This is how we're going to set this off, man.
Now, out of people over DAZN and people over ESPN go whine, how come? Well, you know what? They tried to make fights with you guys. But at the end of the day, this is what we're building. We built this. Yeah. You didn't contribute to it. Now you all gonna show up at the fights. See, just like look at Bud. Bud show up at Earl fights, but Earl don't show up at Bud fights. That right there should tell Bud, dude, your competition doesn't even come to your fights. How you're
not even worth looking at.
How you 50-50, bro? You come to Earl's fights because that's the show. He don't go to your fights because who are you fighting? What's the show? Where's the draw?
How do I
Omaha,
see? How do I
no
see your?
disrespect to the great people of Nebraska.
How do I
But if I
do?
had
How
to
do I
go,
get to see
yeah,
your best skill set?
right.
If I got to come and see
Earl
that,
and his team understand branding. I'm Earl the True Spence, born in Brooklyn. Bam. Always says that. Now I got a New York fan base. I could always go to the Garden and get my love and get my support because they all gonna tell people, well, you know he was like Jordan. You know he was born in Brooklyn, right? Right. So
you
you
know
got
my
that.
daddy from Jamaica, right?
Right. So then you got that aspect. You know, my dad, a lot of Jamaicans and Caribbean people on the East Coast, up and down the Eastern Seaboard. You got that. Then bam. Oh, well, but you know, hey, I'm from DeSoto, Texas. Big D. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm sitting up here on Jerry Jones' yacht. I'm rubbing elbows with Jerry Jones. I'm in Jerry's world fight. It's like he had to see his business moves and aspirations match his boxing moves and aspirations. That's why he got the Pacquiao fight. And so to me, he's going about it the right way. He's built his brand the right way. And that's why he deserves these fights. So Robert Garcia can call him basic all he wants to, but I tell you this much, he's making more money than Mikey Garcia. I tell you this much, his pocketbook isn't basic.
I bet you won't put Mikey Garcia in front of him again.
Well, if he does put Mikey Garcia in front of him again, it is going to be worse.
That's what I'm saying.
You're getting a more focused Earl Spence.
Oh yeah.
You're getting an Earl Spence that's not drinking alcohol.
Oh yeah.
You get an Earl Spence that's making better life choices and decisions. That Earl Spence that is mature, and Earl Spence that's working with Blu-ray. So to me, it's like, you know, he's trending. I look at guys and see where they're trending. He's trending in the right direction. And I think the two guys that really get it in terms of their adversaries, not nemesis to each other, but adversaries to where they understand that we can do big business together, is Tank and is Devin. They never speak ill of each other's ability. Ever. They never. Now they may talk shit. Yeah, I beat you up, man. I take him. I take him. Come on, you don't fight black fighter. Come on, black. Come on. Cool, Tank. They'll call down. You know, I knock your little ass out. You can run, but you can't hide. That's marketing. That's building the fight. It's not saying Devin can't fight. It's not saying Tank can't fight. He can't punch. It's let's build it up, but they're not devaluing. When you hear Ryan Garcia, man, look what Linares did. I'll knock him out in the first round.
Even all the greats, you didn't hear Sugar Ray Rob. I mean, not Sugar Ray. You didn't hear Ray Leonard down in Tommy Hearns.
Yeah.
He just says he's an excellent fighter, but he has to get up to this level.
Yeah. Or Tiafimo. Oh, he's an email champion. You're a dummy. So you're gonna devalue a guy that you can make money with instead of saying, you know what, that is interesting, man. You know, even though I took that designation off of Loma had a chance to fight Devin Haney and he didn't. So Devin Haney got that super belt and I won it and I'm coming to get it. That's what Tiafimo should be saying.
Yeah.
See, if Tiafimo said that, I might even ride with the whole undisputed thing because he did beat the man.
Roy
but
Jones,
the man gave up
your
a belt.
second fight with B-Hop, didn't you say I had to be the A side since you were talking about Earl Spence? Didn't you say that when y'all were arguing over the phone in public? Didn't you say that you had to be the A side? And B-Hop said, no, I'm the A side. I'm 60-40. No, I'm 60-40. Y'all made that fight happen, though.
But here's the thing, though. And this is why people have to really be careful what they say because it doesn't age well. This the one thing I do like about social media and technology. Look at all the dumb shit that Bud has said, that Bomac has said, that the Bud supporters and lovers and ESPN has said, Max Kellerman has said, and you know, look at all the dumb things they said. They haven't aged well at all. Andre Ward, Timothy Bradley, Joe Tessitore, they're not aging well. It affects your brand when you say things that are unethical, that are untruth, that aren't truthful. But better yet, it affects your brand when you say something and we know you know better. It's one thing to deal with somebody from a place of ignorance. But if you actually have the knowledge, but you're still saying dumb shit, man, that makes you beyond suspect, right?
Do you think Wilder's camp probably plays play some of the thing Andre Ward is saying that he won't be able to bounce back? You know, he doesn't have the ability to bounce. You think they play that shit in the gym just to keep him?
I don't think they play it. I think Deontay is already self-motivated. I think through his own failures. I think Deontay sees, and he said it, and I give him credit. I give the champ credit because he said, look, it's like life, man. People have a good thing and they fall in love with it, right?
That's a
They
fact.
fall in love with it.
That's a fact.
And it once you get that one thing and it always works, if ladies, the guy got that one trick and he figured out, you keep doing that trick. But at the end of the day, you should, even though you may have that one trick down, you still need to expand your game. You still need to explore and get better. And I think Deontay, for all the other stuff, the gloves, the water, et cetera, I listened to what he said. I would feel differently about him if he didn't say this. He said, I fell in love with my right hand. I fell in love with the power, because I fell in love with knowing that a guy could put all his energy and efforts into being the perfect boxer for 12 rounds, and all I needed was 2 seconds. I had the equalizer. And he said, I fell in love with it, and that led to my demise.
Absolutely.
And so even though he was being cheated, he was still being outboxed. And so I think at this point, what he's realizing is, even though I'm not a better boxer than Tyson Fury, he's never claimed to be a better boxer. I think what he's saying is my boxing ability is better than what I've shown.
Correct.
Because I always just focused on one thing. I don't have to be as good of a boxer as Tyson Fury, but if I'm a even better boxer, that gives me a better opportunity to land the shots that I know I can land, I can finish him. And so it doesn't matter how great of a boxer he is, I can hit him with something he won't get up. And I have enough boxing ability to be able to land that punch more than once.
I wonder what that right hand to the body is going to feel like. Ooh, like a clean shot instead of it being to the head.
Yeah. For me, all I'm looking at with Deontay, I'm looking at his back foot and I'm looking at his lead hand. So when I look at him, I still see some mistakes he's made fundamentally with the way he's delivering his punches in terms of how he telegraphs them, how the elbow keeps coming back before he throws the right hand. He needs to stay here and just shoot. You still see it kind of rear up. And, but at this point, that might be who he is. And honestly,
what are you saying? His arm rears up or his shoulder rears up?
Yeah. So what he does is when he gets ready to throw that right hand every time, he'll throw it. And instead of boom, boom, instead of just coming straight like that, he tucks his elbow in, but it goes backwards first. He always disconnects, he disengages, and he brings it back. He rears it back before he comes with that right hand.
It could probably just be his mechanics, like
it could be the mechanics. And honestly, I'm nitpicking here. And honestly, it really won't make a bit of damn difference if he's better with that left hand. Because if he's better with that left hand and you got to look at it, that's the split second you need. That even if this action takes a split second, if this is keeping the guy busy, then it gives that right hand time to get there.
I'll have to look at it because if he's doing it a certain way, if the shoulder is coming up when he's doing it, then he's basically hiding the right hand coming over. But if it's not cocking back, then that's not bad. But it's not raising it and then he's shooting him off a guy. He's trying to hide. He's trying to hide it.
Yeah, no, he's not raising it up. It's he kicks the elbow. The right hand is here, and then he kicks it out and backs it up.
Okay.
And then he comes.
Okay.
So it's
like a rocket launcher where he just lifts up the right shoulder and then he shoots it out of there.
Yeah, but it comes up and then out.
Okay.
Then back. Then he shoots it out.
Okay.
Now he does it very, very quickly.
Yeah,
he does it very quickly. Don't get it twisted. But with a guy who's a master boxer like Tyson Fury, that's what he's looking at. Tyson Fury is just steadily looking at that right elbow.
That's fine, man. I just want to see him land that shit to the body.
So my point is if he's looking at your right elbow because he's so afraid of that right hand, imagine what this hand can be doing.
Hooking up that motherfucker.
And so, yeah.
Imagine him being able to hook off the jab.
And to me, that's the most dangerous thing for him. Being able to hook off that jab because when he commits to it, he's got a really good jab. But hooking off that jab is really bad. I actually think I know a killer combination for Deontay that would destroy people that they wouldn't even see coming. The double jab and then the left hook after it. So all 3 punches, a 3-punch combination with the same hand. Because what people are doing like Fury, and he's got an advantage because he's tall, right? And he's very good at slipping and he's constantly looking. He's expecting that 1-2 or at worst that 1-1-2. Could you imagine? You hit him with the jab Hey, he's still constantly looking down. You hit him with a jab. He's still looking here, and then bam, you hit him with a hook.
Yeah, you feint that right hand like you're going for it.
Bam.
That would be
You
good
know,
for him. That would be good for him.
he would have.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
things he could do, man.
yeah,
Especially once you have the jab going, there's so many things you could do. You could feint like you're gonna throw the right or the left hook to the head and go to the body. Oh man, it's
yeah.
just so many things that he could do.
And that's the thing for him. I wouldn't focus as much on. I still focus on it, but I wouldn't put all my focus into how do I set the right hand up. I would actually use the right hand as a fucking decoy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
And kill him with
absolutely.
the left hand.
Yes.
I would be killing him with left hooks to the body and left hooks upstairs is what I would do.
And anytime I throw the
Because
right, it would probably be to the body because
yeah,
Deontay, man, beat
yes,
the shit out of him. I'm telling you,
yeah,
man. Like
yeah. I would focus on left hooks to the body over right hands to the body because I think Tyson Fury's left hand is better than his right hand.
it
And
is
so
the reason being, I forgot what I was gonna say. The reason being is because Deontay's so much of a straight guy.
mhm,
It would be easy for him to throw straight punches to Tyson and wear him
yeah,
out to the
yeah,
chest, to the
yeah.
abdomen. Like,
See, that's what I would do. I would just aim for, especially because of their height. I would throw everything in his throat, like literally, but between the top half of his chest and his chin. I would try to throw everything right here. I'm gonna tell you why. Because number one, Tyson sometimes his chin is not always tucked. He fights very tall. He's a tall guy, but all of this, his neck, if you look at it, is exposed. Nobody wants to get punched in the throat. I would not want to get punched in the throat by Deontay Wilder right hand. You know what that's gonna make Tyson Fury do? Lower his gloves. If he doesn't lower his gloves, you know what's gonna make him do? It's gonna make him slip to the side, and bam, that's when you can come with the left hand. So to me, that's my target practice. Fuck the head. I don't go to the body and let him counter me the jab over the right to the body. I may feint down there. I may shoot one down there to keep my honest, let him know I'll do it. But I really focus on here to make his hands do something or to make him slip one way. So boom, he's so preoccupied and worried about this. I can really nail him with my left hand. He'll never see it coming. He'll
man,
never see it coming.
man.
Because he's so busy. He's literally trying to protect his neck.
So many tapes I'll be watching of
Because look at Tyson.
Tommy
Tyson,
Hitman Hearns
yeah,
and guys like that. I'll be watching
yeah.
so many of those tapes.
Fury does not tuck his chin, bro. He does not tuck his chin. His head is up. Now he moves. He's got a lot of notice it's a lot of herky jerky, a lot of movement, but it's never this.
Well, when you
He's never
6'9", you know,
tucking
you
it.
kind of for him, he's out the way of it. So when he rides back, he not worried about anything hitting him.
Well, he's not worried about anything hitting him because that's to the head. He gets that head out the way, but he got that big old body. And so what I do is I aim between here and here. Because while the head can go back,
Body
this
can't
is
go
all still
nowhere.
right. The body can't go nowhere. He's got a big, huge body.
I
And
would
that's
be
why I
fucking
do
that
that.
body up.
And I would start here first. And if he keeps leaning back, then I drop my level lower because it's the human body. He's gonna lean back like this, right? It's gonna go like this. So you hit him in the neck area is where my everything bends right here. He's moving the head back, but then you hit here. When he starts backing up or you faint, you see he's gonna keep backing up. Then that lets you know, oh, okay, now I'm safe to throw that right hand to the body downstairs.
I think it's gonna be a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Deontay, if you know how to work on it, or Malik Scott King, if you know how to work on the 1-1, the 1-2 to the 6 to the body, it's gonna be a lot to be done there, pimp. And he can
yeah,
do it. Deontay, if he's
yeah.
that motivated, he can do it. He can do it.
He
And
can
you
definitely
just
do
gave
it.
him more time. That's the best part
Yeah,
about it. You
yeah.
ain't hurt that
He could
man.
definitely work at least a couple more punch combinations in there. If the fight's not till October, he can definitely hone in on his skills and do that without a doubt.
Oh yeah, Jay, we've been talking for 2.5
I
hours.
know for 2 hours, man. I know it's your birthday. You got to go, man. Like I said, we can talk all
No,
day.
we can sit here and talk all day. I just want to make sure I get to some of these people. My phone is humming like a
No
motherfucker.
doubt.
So,
Cool, no doubt. Yeah. Well, happy birthday, bro.
I
Get to it.
appreciate it.
And
Appreciate
man,
it. Yo, this has
no
been
doubt.
another episode of Clean Breaks with Jamie. Today is the day of the fight. This episode will be out shortly. Jojo Diaz versus Javier Fortuna. And then the co-main is Sullivan Barrera versus Zuro Ramirez. That should be some good boxing or some bang out fights. Until
Agreed.
next time, y'all be safe and be awesome.